Mo Nian was within one of the secret rooms beneath the Mo family's ancestral land. Even with Mo Yi leading the way, they had to go through 13 blockades and be investigated time and time again before being let through. Mo Nian's safety was paramount to the Mo family. He was not just Mo Yi's grandson now but the hope of the entire Mo family. There could not be any mistakes. There were over 30 Nether Passage experts guarding the secret room. What surprised Long Chen was that one of them was at the 4th step. "Greetings, family head." Mo Li hastily bowed upon seeing that man. Long Chen had never known that the Mo family possessed an expert on this level. No wonder Mo Nian had been able to run rampant in the outside world. The old man nodded at Long Chen kindly. "Your reputation precedes you, Long Chen. I'm honored to see you in person. Senior overpraises me. As Mo Nian's brother, I should have come to see you a long time ago. I'm ashamed of being held back by so many trifles," said Long Chen. "What kind of joke is that? Don't be so serious. Come in. Mo Nian is inside." The head of the Mo family personally opened the door, bringing in Long Chen and Mo Yi. The final barrier to Mo Nian was actually the head of the family. Mo Nian's body was seated atop a stone disc. His fiancée, Lu Zongying, was beside him. She looked like she had been weeping. "Long Chen." Upon seeing Long Chen, Lu Zongying's reddened eyes brightened. Long Chen nodded toward her and walked over to Mo Nian. His face was dark without the slightest trace of life. He was like a corpse. However, this was the natural Husk left behind when attacking the Nether Passage realm. The soul was already in the Netherworld. It could be said that in some ways, Mo Nian was already dead. "Long Chen, you have to help Mo Nian." Lu Zongying bit her lip and began to cry. Although she was normally fierce toward Mo Nian, her feelings for him were true. Even after all this time, Mo Nian had yet to awaken. She felt like her sky had fallen, and she had been unable to calm down enough to cultivate during this time. After reaching the Nether Passage realm, she stayed beside him, refusing to leave. "I'll think of a way." Long Chen nodded and pressed a finger against Mo Nian's forehead. This action made the others jump. The family head hastily said, "Long Chen, you can't. If you send your soul inside his body, you will be drawn into the Netherworld. The laws there will not permit you to enter, and you will be destroyed. Such a thing is in defiance of the heavenly Taos." Although the martial heaven continent's side knew very little about the Netherworld, some of its laws were well known. A state like Mo Nian's had occurred in the past of the cultivation world. When others tried to help them, they all died without exception. No one could help someone cheat their way through the Netherworld. Lu Zongying regretfully said, "Long Chen, I'm sorry for saying that. If something happens to you, Mo Nian won't forgive me when he wakes up." Her intention had never been for Long Chen to do such a thing. "Don't worry about me. I'm not suicidal. I'm just seeing if I can link up with Mo Nian and see what state he's in," said Long Chen. He pressed the rest of his hand onto Mo Nian's forehead. Mo Yi's heart was pounding hard. This was far too dangerous. If something happened to Long Chen, they would have no way to explain themselves to Mo Nian. They all became apprehensive, in a mix of hope and uneasiness. Long Chen's spiritual strength slowly entered Mo Nian's mindset. It was completely empty. As Long Chen carefully entered Mo Nian's spiritual space, even he was a bit nervous. This truly was dangerous. If his soul was drawn into the Netherworld, then considering that he no longer met the requirements for attacking the Nether Passage realm, he would be exterminated by the laws of the Netherworld. He kept absolute control over his spiritual fluctuations, not disturbing the core of Mo Nian's mindset. That core was a dark yellow ball of light, the essence of his soul. That place was also called the Niwen. It could be considered a bit similar to a magical beast's crystal core. If his spiritual strength fluctuated and activated the Niwen, then he would be instantly drawn into the Netherworld. What he wanted to do was fully enter Mo Nian's body without disturbing his Niwen. That was essentially impossible considering the harsh requirements over someone's spiritual strength. However, this was the best option that Long Chen had thought of before coming here. He had great confidence in his spiritual strength. But to say that he wasn't nervous would be a lie. To be safe, he kept a portion of his spiritual strength within his own body. Just in case, perhaps he would be able to rip his soul back out if something happened. Damn, when did this fellow's spiritual strength become so powerful? I've already passed 40%. Past 50% and I won't be able to pull back. Long Chen's heart tightened. He had originally thought that Mo Nian's spiritual strength wasn't so strong, and that he could take control with under half of his spiritual strength. But with how powerful Mo Nian's spiritual strength actually was, it seemed that he wouldn't be able to follow through with that plan. Long Chen cursed. When did this fellow become so low-key? If Long Chen didn't fill his spiritual sea, he wouldn't be able to achieve his goal. Clenching his teeth, Long Chen continued sending in his spiritual strength, his nerves growing more and more tense. He had to avoid disturbing Mo Nian's Niwen. Finally, when around 60% of his spiritual strength had entered, Mo Nian's body shook ever so slightly. Long Chen instantly stopped. Long Chen sighed. He had managed to avoid touching Mo Nian's Niwen. He slowly focused on Mo Nian's Dantian, in particular the giant star. That was Mo Nian's astral space. He looked around it and didn't see the 5-element sun-hunting bow, making him have a trace of hope. So Mo Nian had managed to bring the 5-element sun-hunting bow into the Netherworld with him. It seemed that Long Chen wasn't the only one who possessed the ability to bring objects into the Netherworld. Evil Moon, can I use you as a bridge to communicate with Mo Nian? What are you using me for? The laws of the Netherworld aren't to my taste. Using Linga would be better. She is a demonic furnace and the materials that went into creating her came from the Netherworld, said Evil Moon. Long Chen immediately turned to Linger, who agreed. Using the Demon Moon Furnace, he entered Mo Nian's astral space. When the Demon Moon Furnace entered Mo Nian's astral space, it began to thrum according to a specific rhythm. However, even after a long time, there was no further reaction. Long Chen didn't give up, and the Demon Moon Furnace continued to thrum. Eventually, it said, "Big Brother Long Chen, there is a fluctuation calling me. Should I go?" Long Chen was delighted. "Not yet. Continue connecting with it. I will transmit my spiritual fluctuations over as well." Mo Nian finally responded. This was Mo Nian's astral space, and it had a definite connection to Mo Nian's soul. Using the Demon Moon Furnace's fluctuations, he tried to draw Mo Nian's attention and had finally succeeded. This meant that Mo Nian was definitely alive. "Ling, I will entrust my soul to you. When Mo Nian calls you over, bring me with you," said Long Chen. "All right. Evil Moon, you protect the bit of my soul that connects with me here. When I want to return, if I don't have the ability to, help pull me back," said Long Chen. "Don't worry about it," said Evil Moon. "Thanks." Long Chen sent his spiritual strength pouring into the Demon Moon Furnace. In that instant, his aura vanished. Long Chen, Mo.E, the family head, and Lu Zongying all let out startled cries. They instantly turned as pale as paper. Long Chen had gone to the Netherworld to bring Mo Nian back. "There's no need for you to worry about him." Evelmoon's icy voice rang out, shocking them. Within the Demon Moon Furnace, Long Chen followed Mo Nian's spiritual fluctuations, and he appeared in a dark world. "Long Chen, is that you?" From within that darkness, Mo Nian's voice rang out. "Who else would it be, a ghost? Get out here," snorted Long Chen. Not sensing any danger, he jumped out of the Demon Moon Furnace. Upon seeing Mo Nian, he jumped in shock. "Who did this to you?" When Long Chen popped out of the Demon Moon Furnace, he jumped in shock upon seeing Mo Nian. Half of Mo Nian's body was gone. He was curled up in a dark corner, his aura extremely weak. Seeing Long Chen come out of the Demon Moon Furnace, Mo Nian was delighted at first, but then upon hearing what he said, he raged. "Do you have the face to say such a thing? I was implicated by you and almost died." "I implicated you? When did you change your name to Lazy? Go slander someone else," said Long Chen. He used his own energy to help heal Mo Nian's wounds, only to find that there was some strange law trying to devour Mo Nian's vitality. That was why his recovery was so slow. However, with Long Chen's help, they managed to suppress that power. Mo Nian finally began to recover quickly. As he recovered, he said, "Tell me, do you know someone named Hong Yaoyang?" Hong Yaoyang? Never heard of him. Long Chen shook his head but then suddenly said, that does sound familiar. I think I've heard of him. Long Chen suddenly felt that he had heard this name, but no matter how he tried, he was unable to recall it. That fellow claimed to be a nether god. I had just broken past the final trial and was about to leave this world when that bastard suddenly came out of nowhere, roaring about how anyone related to you had to be killed. The path collapsed, and countless nether warriors appeared. I was hunted throughout the Netherworld. Fuck, it really pisses me off. Mo Nian ground his teeth. Long Chen suddenly recalled this fellow. He had met him in Ming Zongyue's palace. Seeing his expression, Mo Nian snorted, "So, who is slandering who? I was implicated by you, right? What did you do to offend a nether god?" Long Chen shrugged helplessly. "I didn't really do anything. I just didn't like looking at him, so I slapped him." Mo Nian's jaw dropped. After a long pause, he laughed, "Not bad. Fuck, no wonder I was chased for so long. If I knew this was the reason, I'd have felt much better. When am I going to get a chance to slap him as well?" Mo Nian felt quite satisfied, as if he had been the one to slap Hong Yaoyang. "Many of my memories of the Netherworld are fading. If you didn't say that he was a nether god, I wouldn't have remembered him. That idiot took his anger out on you? We'll definitely repay him for this," said Long Chen hatefully. Back then, Hong Yaoyang had come to discuss something with Ming Zongyue, only for her to ignore him. Then upon seeing Long Chen, he had suddenly grown jealous and attacked him, only for Ming Zongyue to freeze him. Long Chen had taken advantage of that to slap him. Actually, he hadn't even managed to injure him, it was his own hand that hurt. Hong Yaoyang was infuriated though, and after saying some vicious words, he left. Long Chen had ignored him since they weren't in the same netherworld and wouldn't run into each other again. He hadn't expected that fellow to take out his anger on his friends. He, a nether god, had actually used some method to find the people related to him. Mo Nian was truly unlucky to have run into him. Now he was unable to leave this place. Hee, since that's the case, then I guess I'm not wronged. You slapping him is just like me slapping him. Mo Nian chortled, slowly standing up. He stretched, his body fully recovered. Long Chen said, "Since you've passed the final trial, your Yuan spirit has received the Netherworld's approval. As long as you return to the Martial Heaven continent, you'll be a Nether Passage expert. I have the Demon Moon Furnace and Evil Moon on the other side, so I can return at any time. But after being chased down for so long, do you have any thoughts on giving Hong Yaoyang a beating?" The reason that Long Chen didn't directly drag Mo Nian back was because he was unwilling. Mo Nian had been beaten into this miserable state. If they didn't strike back, how were they supposed to accept this? Long Chen first asked Mo Nian what he was thinking. After all, he had been here for so long. "Hee, you really are my brother. You really understand me. After being chased for so long, I've already prepared everything. Actually, I had a way to get out, but I didn't want to leave empty-handed. I wanted something big." An evil smile appeared on Mo Nian's face. Long Chen rolled his eyes. "As you waited for your opportunity, the people on the Martial Heaven continent were worrying themselves sick over you. Lu Zongying has yet to leave your side and was weeping when I saw her. The Mo family's people are sick with worry." When Long Chen explained the current state of the Mo family, Mo Nian was shocked. "What? It only feels like it's been 10 days. Over half a year has passed on the continent? The flow of time here is different. Let's hurry up so we can get back to the continent. What plan do you have?" asked Long Chen. Time was passing much quicker here. He had to get back soon. "All right, since you've come, let's do something big. I'll bring you to a certain place." Mo Nian led Long Chen out of the darkness. He touched the walls as he walked, eventually pushing aside a large rock. Long Chen realized that Mo Nian was hiding beneath the rubble of a statue. "Is this a statue of that bastard Hong Yaoyang?" asked Long Chen. Once they came out of the back of the statue, he saw a towering palace. This was most likely the Nether God's palace. Mo Nian had actually chosen to hide here. "Hee, this is the darkness under the light. They definitely wouldn't expect me to hide here," snickered Mo Nian. "Long Chen, I ran all over the Netherworld dodging them. I've figured out many rules of the Netherworld. Do you see that curtain of light up ahead? That is the testing area for the Nether Passage realm. As long as I go there and release my aura, those Nether warriors will quickly appear to kill me. After being chased for so long, I've learned how to hide my aura here, which is how I was able to thwart them. If I had wanted to, I could have hidden my aura and disguised myself as someone else to get by them. However, I discovered that there's an ancient tomb on the opposite side of this palace that has no one guarding it. When I tried to get in, I was injured by some dark light that almost killed me. I'm guessing that there's definitely treasures in there. When he mentioned the ancient tomb, Emo Nian's old habits of his profession popped up. His eyes were blazing with passion. Long Chen disdainfully said, "So your injuries were your own fault, and you blamed me for them?" Cough, well, if you trace it to the source, it all stemmed from you. Ha, let's not talk about that. I'll teach you my amazing aura concealing art. Emo Nian taught Long Chen a very specific technique. It was essentially using his own aura to imitate a different fluctuation. It was very simple, and Long Chen even had doubts that it would work. However, Mo Nian swore that it had worked for him. Concealing themselves in black cloaks, they carefully crept forward. Within a mountain, Emo Nian pushed aside a boulder, revealing a large cave. Upon entering, Emo Nian returned the boulder to its original location. Entering deeper into the cave, Long Chen realized that it was freshly excavated. "You brought all your tomb robbing equipment here?" exclaimed Long Chen. "How many times do I have to tell you? It's archaeology." "It's archaeology equipment," corrected Emo Nian. Eventually, they arrived at a fork that diverged into 3 paths. Long Chen rolled his eyes. "A crafty rabbit has 3 burrows? Hee, safety first." "I naturally left myself ways out," chortled Emo Nian. The two of them quickly passed through the caves. When they arrived at a dead end, Emo Nian formed some hand seals, causing a certain mechanism to activate. A stone door actually revealed itself on the wall and opened. After that, an aura of decay came out from within, one that was so corrosive that Long Chen had no choice but to resist it with the power of his Yuan spirit. "You dug up tombs all the way to the Netherworld. If this information gets out, it'll probably shake the world." "Not bad," praised Long Chen. "It's curious, when I started grave robbing, archaeology it was because I was forced to in order to restore the power of the 5-element sun hunting bow. But as I did it, I found that many experts left behind their secrets in their tombs. By digging out their historical remains, I've learned a great deal of history that no one else knows. You know me, I'm very smart and eager to learn. Don't look at me like that, I really am studious." "Fine, well, I found I've gradually come to love archaeology. I have a grand aspiration of using my tools to excavate the entire history of the world for everyone to see," said Emo Nian. There was a practically holy light in his eyes. "Fine, if you can find out the lost history of the continent, it truly would be a sacred profession." Long Chen nodded. "Hee, good brother, you have vision. My family is extremely against it. My grandpa curses me every day, but what does he know about the significance of archaeology? Let me tell you, let's talk about it later." "All right, we'll get to work," said Mo Nian. Now truly wasn't the time to talk about such things. Emo Nian brought Long Chen through 7 doors. It went without saying that his skill in this area was amazing. Long Chen didn't even see how he had managed to open those stone doors one after another. When the 8th door is opened, the black nether chi will gush out. "Last time, I was injured at this moment. Do you have any ideas?" asked Emo Nian. Last time, Emo Nian had been gravely injured upon reaching this point. The dark nether chi most likely isn't a mechanism. It's something that accumulated due to how long this place has been sealed. I'm sure there's some treasure inside. But the dark nether chi will burst out as soon as the door is opened. There's no way to dodge it. After some thinking, I've found a way to block a bit of it, but not all of it. I would say that we wouldn't even be able to last a few minutes within it, said Emo Nian. That was too little time, and it was a conservative estimate. I'll handle it. Long Chen began to communicate with the demon moon furnace. A pile of mud appeared in his hand. Long Chen suddenly smeared the mud over Emon Yen's face, enraging him. What time is it for something so senseless? Don't move. This mud is a treasure. The dark nether chi will be unable to go through it, said Long Chen, adding more to Emon Yen's body. Are you telling the truth? Don't con me. Emon Yen looked at Long Chen doubtingly. Long Chen ignored him. After applying it all over Emon Yen's body, Emon Yen turned into a mud person. Long Chen then started applying it on himself. He was unable to reach his back, so he needed Emon Yen to help. The two of them quickly became mud people. This mud was the black soil of the primal chaos space that possessed its own particular death energy. Even the death spirit water had been unable to get through it, so Long Chen was confident. Don't let the mud fall off. Open the door, said Long Chen. Emon Yen nodded. Since Long Chen was so confident, there shouldn't be a problem. With their bodies covered in soil, they looked very comical. They could only use their divine sense to see. Emon Yen touched several spots on a pillar beside the door. A different colored rune lit up every time he touched it. Rumbling rang out and the door slowly opened. A flood of darkness swept over them. If they hadn't been prepared, they would have been blown away. It really is immune to the dark nether chi, exclaimed Emon Yen in delight. The black soil completely isolated them from it. Eventually, the force behind the deluge of nether chi weakened enough for the two of them to walk in. Damn! Both of them sucked in a cold gasp of air. They were in a giant room, so big that they couldn't see the other side. This room was filled with skeletons. They were lying on the ground, limp, but the auras they gave off made their hair stand on end. Those were the skeletons of giant beasts. Looking closely, there were 36 skeletons, but they filled this giant room. It was impossible to tell what their original forms were like or their level. Their bones were pitch black like cast iron. Even the runes on them contained the aura of darkness. Most likely, they were species specific to the Netherworld. Based on their auras, they are probably above the Nether Passage realm, said Emon Yen, smacking his lips. Even though they were just skeletons, they still gave off a feeling of mortal danger to them. Most likely. But their crystal cores are intact, and their skeletons aren't damaged. How did they die? Wondered Long Chen. Look, that's up ahead. What kind of diagram is that? Emon Yen pointed suddenly. Long Chen looked over, only to see another door with a bizarre diagram on it. At the center of it was a winged person holding a sword. It seemed that the 36 beasts were prostrating toward it. Long Chen came to a sudden realization. This was a sacrificial ceremony. These beasts were sacrificed. Having learned some fundamentals about formations from Xiachen, Long Chen managed to vaguely recognize a sacrificial formation. It was no wonder these beasts had their skeletons in perfect shape. Their flesh had been sacrificed, but their energy remained locked in their bones and crystal cores. I want these corpses, said Long Chen a bit excitedly. For what? Stew? Can't you just take their crystal cores? Asked Emon Yen. No. Perhaps Meng Qi will be able to control these skeletons. What? How can dead beasts still be controlled? I'm not sure either. But what if it does work? Better to try it. A light of anticipation appeared in Long Chen's eyes. If it actually does work, wouldn't you be able to sweep through the world? Exclaimed Mon Yen. If Meng Qi could have these skeletons fight as if they were alive, that would be far too terrifying. These were beasts above the Nether Passage realm. 36 beasts above the Nether Passage realm? That power was unimaginable. It was worth it to come here. Emon Yen, you study how to open the door. There's definitely something amazing behind it. I'll take these skeletons. Long Chen reached out to grab one of the skeletons. He found that even though they were just bones, they were as heavy as a star. He had to use his full power to lift and toss them into Emon Yen's astral space. Then through the demon moon furnace sending them and evil moon receiving them, Emon Yen's astral space became a conduit, allowing these skeletons to be sent back one after another. It was hard work moving them all. By the time he was done, Long Chen felt exhausted. As he recovered his breath, he saw Emon Yen had also accomplished his task. He had been pressing around on the door for this entire time and had finally managed to activate the runes on it, making it slowly open. When it was just the slightest crack open, a wave of divine pressure burst out of it, sending them both flying. They coughed up blood, their yuan spirits barely having survived the impact. When the door was fully open, the divine pressure raged in the room. It was like thunder crashing, accompanied by harsh, blinding lightning. The roaring made them feel like they might collapse. In front of that divine pressure, they felt incredibly minuscule. This is definitely a treasure. Perhaps this is the greatest discovery of my lifetime. Emo Nien was ecstatic. There was definitely something unimaginable behind this door. The divine pressure gradually stabilized, and only once it stopped blasting out of the door did they manage to walk forward and take a look inside. As soon as they did, their hair stood on end. Hong Yaoyang. Long Chen instantly recognized the person seated within the hall behind the door. He was icily staring at the two of them. Emo Nien had not seen Hong Yaoyang. He had only heard his voice. As a nether god, Hong Yaoyang had only sent his troops out to kill him. But Emo Nien had requested Long Chen to display how he had slapped Hong Yaoyang, so he knew what he looked like. The first thought of Emo Nien's was that they were doomed. They had actually walked right into Hong Yaoyang. There was no way they could fend off the god of this world. "No, it's not Hong Yaoyang. It's his mortal Husk," exclaimed Long Chen suddenly. Hong Yaoyang was just staring at them, not doing anything. Furthermore, his aura was different from what Long Chen recalled. Although there was divine energy surging within him, his eyes lacked any life. Through that, Emo Nien also realized something was off. Hong Yaoyang's expression didn't change at all. The two of them slowly crept in. Hong Yaoyang was seated on a throne within this room. Suddenly, Hong Yaoyang's eyes brightened. The throne shook slightly, making Emo Nien cry out. Without hesitation, he shot an arrow at him. His arrow exploded into smithereens upon reaching a distance of 3 inches from Hong Yaoyang. "Don't move. It's definitely his mortal Husk. Our auras stirred the runes just now," said Long Chen, stopping Emo Nien from shooting his second arrow. He pointed at the bricks beneath them. Long Chen had just stepped on one, and one of the runes on it was just barely flashing. When he took his foot off, the runes stopped flashing and faded away. Fuck, that was terrifying. Emo Nien was sweating. This shedding of Hong Yaoyang's looked just like a real person. Long Chen indicated to Emo Nien not to move. He squatted down and carefully looked at the bricks. He was just barely able to see some runes on some of the bricks. As he wasn't a formation master, he didn't know what this formation was. But clearly, those bricks could not be touched. Long Chen began to mark those bricks, indicating not to step on those. His estimate was that these runes were not used to target invaders. Otherwise, the mechanisms here should be even stronger. Hong Yaoyang had to be confident in his territory, and so he wasn't worried about the defense of this place. "There's something behind him. Let's go around." Long Chen pointed at the throne. The two of them carefully looped around, and they saw a large platform with a sword stabbing into it. Upon seeing that sword, Emo Nien's eyes blazed with light. "We've really struck gold this time." You can also listen on Wuxia The sword was translucent and had multicolored light flowing within it. Bursts of divine pressure exuded from it, stabbing their souls. This sword was just lying there. If it was actually used to fight, wouldn't its power directly shatter a person's soul even before it struck? "What gold? It's not like you use swords," said Long Chen. This sword was definitely a priceless treasure, but with their power, it would be a fool's dream to take it. They were unable to even approach it. "Hee, since it's a priceless treasure, it definitely has destiny with me. There's a divine pool as well over there." Emo Nien was delighted and seemed confident that it would be his. Behind the platform with the sword was a divine pool. Dark red liquid that looked like blood filled it. There were strange ripples within the pool. One scene after another appeared within it. Looking closely, Long Chen said, "This is Hong Yaoyang's tomb. He buried his past life here." All the images that were appearing within the pool contained Hong Yaoyang. They were scenes of his cultivation or his past battles, as well as some childhood memories. It seems that the legends are true. When you become a god, you have to leave behind your past to start a new beginning. But no one is willing to erase their memories, so they bury them. Longchen, this pool definitely contains Hong Yaoyang's experience in reaching godhood. You should take it. Then you'll have his experience and will be able to cultivate far easier. You won't have a single bottleneck, said Yen. Are you an idiot? Your cultivation path will definitely be affected by him if you absorb it. Walking another person's path isn't a good thing, said Longchen. Although it would allow a person's cultivation path to become flat and easy to traverse, another person's path would sooner or later reach an end. Longchen's goal wasn't just to become a god. Furthermore, to tell the truth, he disdained touching Hong Yaoyang's legacy. You're the idiot. Once you become a god, you'll bury your past anyway. Then you won't be affected at all, said Yen. Longchen shook his head. My path is different from others. I definitely don't want this fellow's inheritance. You're the one who said that, so don't say that I don't give you good stuff first, chortled Yen. Longchen frowned. Don't tell me that you're really going to take his inheritance? I'm telling you it's too dangerous. Longchen had thought that Yen was just joking at first, but now it seemed that he was serious. If he really did this, he wouldn't have a chance to regret it. Who do you think I am? Do you think I'd do something so foolish? After my years of grave robbing, archaeology, do you think all my experience is for naught? As long as I absorb his inheritance, everything of his will be mine, and everything that is mine will remain mine. They won't get mixed together at all. Furthermore, when I don't want his things, I can directly erase them. Yen patted his chest confidently. Fine, since you're so confident, go ahead. Do you need me to do anything? Asked Longchen. Yen thought about it. That's a problem. The pool, sword, and husk are all treasures. The pool contains his experience in attaining godhood and can assist me in becoming a god. The sword contains endless divine energy that can help the 5-element sun hunting bow progress. The husk contains the full inheritance of that fellow, including his cultivation technique and magical arts. They're all important, but they're definitely linked to Hong Yaoyang's true body. Once we touch them, he'll definitely sense it. Most likely, the divine pool is the only thing that can be absorbed without him instantly sensing it. I can't think of anything about the rest. We're in a rush, so I'll absorb the blood pool and we'll head out, sighed Yen. He was very unwilling to just leave these treasures. Wait, you said that your 5-element sun hunting bow can absorb the divine energy of the sword? Are you telling the truth? Asked Longchen suddenly. Based on what he knew, Yen's 5-element sun hunting bow might be powerful, but it hadn't reached the point of being able to take power from that sword. After all, that sword was incredibly strong. It contained Hong Yaoyang's full power from before he became a god. Although Hong Yaoyang hadn't been a god at that time, his divine item had been marked by him as a god. Ignoring whether or not the 5-element sun hunting bow was even capable of taking energy from it, even if it could absorb the energy, wouldn't it directly explode? Are you looking down on me? Just take a look at this. Yen waved his hand, summoning a 3-inch-long translucent bow. If Longchen didn't recall how the 5-element sun hunting bow looked, he wouldn't have recognized it. At this moment, it was very small, but there were 9 holes on it with whirlpools on top of them absorbing energy. Since we're brothers, I'll share this secret with you. Even within the Mo family, no one but me knows this. The 2 ancestors of the Mo family had a grand plan called the Heaven Swallowing Project. Their goal was to transform the 5-element sun hunting bow into the Heaven Swallowing sun hunting bow. Through my years of archaeology, I've started to turn it into the shape of the Heaven Swallowing sun hunting bow. These 9 whirlpools exist to absorb all kinds of divine energy. Anything that would be favorable to its transformation will be automatically sucked in. If it wouldn't help, it's rejected. Let me put it to you this way. As long as I have the right resources, I can allow the heaven-swallowing sun-hunting bow to grow without limit, said Yen proudly. Longchen was really shocked now. The Mo family's ancestors had truly come up with a great plan. To sum up, I'll be getting stronger and stronger, but don't worry, I'll look after you. I'll be toying with the people who have offended us every day in the future, said Yen. I'm going to absorb the pool. Then let's head out. Wait a minute, said Long Chen suddenly. What is it? Since you have that ability, let's get it all. I want to as well, but it's not possible. We don't have time for anything complicated either. If they had enough time, they could study the runes around this place and think of a way to cut off their connection or screen off this place, but they didn't have enough time. They had to return for the star-field divine world. I will think of a way to hold back Hong Yaoyang so you have enough time to absorb it all. I'll also leave the heaven-flipping seal with you so we can stay in touch. Linga will come with me, said Long Chen. He needed the demon moon furnace with him, but then he wouldn't be able to stay in touch with Mo Nian. He needed a divine item standing guard over Mo Nian's astral space in order to stay connected. Furthermore, that divine item needed to be linked to his own soul as well. With Evil Moon guarding his true body, the heaven-flipping seal was the best option. You hold back Hong Yaoyang? Are you crazy? Demanded Mo Nian. That was the god of this world. I estimate that I can stall him for 2 hours. Work hard to take everything as fast as possible, said Long Chen. You sound serious. Mo Nian couldn't believe his ears. Of course, don't absorb the pool for now. When I'm ready, I'll give you the signal through the heaven-flipping seal. Long Chen flew off, leaving a bewildered Mo Nian. He felt like Long Chen was about to do something crazy. Going out through the way that they had come in, Long Chen didn't see anything odd. He was about to fly out when he sensed something and hastily hid. A group of armored warriors flew through the air right above him. They flew into a spatial channel, which was where the nether passage path was according to Mo Nian. It was unknown if they were sent to hunt him down as well. It seems that those are the nether warriors that Mo Nian mentioned. They're comparable to third-step nether passage experts. It seems that Mo Nian really has some ability to be able to survive after being hunted down by them. Long Chen nodded in admiration upon sensing their power. The current Mo Nian had yet to pass his tribulation. He was still stuck in the life-star realm. For him to stay alive and be able to probe the tomb of a nether god in this state showed that he was definitely a marvel. Once they were gone, Long Chen waited a bit longer and came out again. Closing his eyes and sensing the world, he smiled. If this was the Netherworld, then the karmic hell flames were definitely present. He sensed their fluctuations. He began rushing over in that direction, using the celestial lightning body blink at full power to speed away. After an incense stick's worth of time, he stopped in front of an ancient pagoda. The pagoda only had one level, but it was unleashing an incredibly evil air. That air was something Long Chen was familiar with because he had entered it before. This was purgatory. From the outside, it looked like a pagoda. When he had escaped from purgatory back then, he hadn't managed to see this form of it. Leng Yuan said that the karmic hell flames were within purgatory. It seems that this is the place. Long Chen took a deep breath. He clasped his hands together and began to chant. The sound of a sacred scripture began to ring out. Long Chen began to circulate the Nirvana scripture. His face was serene. One note after another came out of his mouth. As peace fell over the world, one rune after another appeared, filling the air around him like shooting stars. Those were runes condensed of the world's flame energy. With these flame runes in the air, it felt like it was night, with stars hanging in the sky. Endless flame energy gathered here, forming a whirlpool of stars around Long Chen. As more and more of them appeared, Long Chen's chanting grew louder. He went from the first volume of the Nirvana scripture to the second volume. As the world's flame energy gathered around him, Long Chen managed to sense the karmic hell flames dancing within the ancient pagoda. The karmic hell flames were responding to him. It was like by gathering all these flames, he had gathered a pack of hyenas against the Lion King. It seemed that they felt provoked. The karmic hell flames were attempting to charge out of purgatory, but they were unable to break the seal. Last time I was only able to summon the karmic hell flames because Leng Yuan had opened the path to purgatory. But this time, I can rely on the karmic hell flames to come out on their own. Long Chen took a deep breath. The chanting changed once more. The words he was chanting transformed into runes that merged into heaven and earth. It was like gods were chanting, filling the world with an unspeakable divine might. With the third volume of the Nirvana scripture, The flame runes moved of their own accord, forming a pair of giant wings on Long Chen's back. Those flame runes were expressing absolute allegiance to Long Chen. They were willing to be used by Long Chen, willing to become a part of him. Such a scenario had never occurred before. Although he had previously used the Nirvana scripture to control the world's flame energy, this time, the flame energy was becoming one with him of its own accord. Before this, he had been forcing the flame energy to be his, but now, the flame energy was willingly doing what he wanted. The two were completely different concepts. The pagoda was shaking intensely. Long Chen could sense the karmic hell flames going crazy inside. It was like a king was being provoked. Suddenly, a stream of flames came gushing out of the bottom of the pagoda, and a wave of heat ignited the world. The karmic hell flames had finally broken out of their seal. Endless flames were charging out from underground. Wherever they went, the earth began to melt. Those flames roared at Long Chen in the form of giant beasts. "Big brother Long Chen, I need those flames. Toss me inside later. I'm going to refine myself," exclaimed Ling. It was unknown what materials had gone into making the demon moon furnace. At that time, Linger had yet to awaken her spirit, so she had no recollection. Now though, she was capable of sensing what would benefit her and what wouldn't. All item spirits had sharp intuitions for this kind of thing. Linger could sense that the karmic hell flames would be very beneficial to her. No problem. Just wait a bit. Long Chen was delighted to see the karmic hell flames had finally come out. His flame wings shuddered, and one small flame lotus after another rained down from them, exploding amongst the karmic hell flames. The giant flame beasts formed of the karmic hell flames were originally holding back slightly, seemingly somewhat afraid of Long Chen. However, this action infuriated them, and like oil had been tossed onto the fire, they charged into the air, attacking him. Seeing that, without a word, Long Chen turned and ran. This seemed to further antagonize the karmic hell flames. The karmic hell flames burst forth like a dam had been broken. They poured into this world, igniting heaven and earth. "Emon Yen, you can start," transmitted Long Chen through the heaven-flipping seal in Emon Yen's astral space. Long Chen brought the karmic hell flames flying toward the Nethergod's palace. Wherever he went, the earth vanished. "Hong Yaoyang, you little ghost, get the fuck out here. Today, I, Long Chen, am going to beat the crap out of you." Long Chen announced himself as soon as he arrived. Within the palace, the icy-faced Hong Yaoyang had his hands clasped in front of his chest. He was seated on a prayer mat, a divine seal flickering on his forehead. Five-colored light was shining behind him, moving according to a set rhythm. It seemed that he was doing some kind of cultivation. All of a sudden, a knocking sound rang out, and a crack appeared in the mark on his forehead. His body shuddered and his divine energy collapsed. He suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood, which transformed into runes that merged back into heaven and earth. Courting death. Hong Yaoyang furiously waved his hand. A door suddenly opened, and an armored person was sucked toward him. Hong Yaoyang grabbed his throat, filled with killing intent. "Did I not say not to disturb me when I'm in seclusion? Do you want to die? What is your excuse?" Hong Yaoyang's voice was frighteningly cold. Just now, he had been in a critical state of his cultivation, but this person's disturbance had ruined everything. He was on the verge of killing this person in his rage, but since this person was a loyal follower of his for many years, he held back. "Master, this lowly one had no other choice but to disturb you. Just now, someone has challenged you to battle," babbled the person in his grip. "Challenging me? They're really courting death. I'll go take a look. My mood isn't good today." Hong Yaoyang tossed that person aside. He started walking, and his expression suddenly changed upon seeing the karmic hell flames surrounding his palace. Hong Yaoyang immediately activated the palace's protections. Divine light enveloped it. How did the karmic hell flames get here? It was too sudden. We have no idea what is happening. If there wasn't any other option, I wouldn't have dared to disturb you, reported his follower. Hong Yaoyang's expression grew dark. The karmic hell flames were flames from purgatory. They burned all things possessing karma, which included mortals and gods. Why didn't you say so earlier? Hong Yaoyang clenched his teeth. The karmic hell flames had enveloped the palace. He needed to maintain the defenses and was unable to go investigate what was going on in purgatory. If he left, the palace would be incinerated. If his throne was destroyed, he would be done for. For a moment, he was unable to come up with any way to handle the karmic hell flames. He flew out of the palace and stood on the peak. Suddenly, he saw a black-robed man standing atop a pill furnace smiling at him. "It's you!" Hong Yaoyang's eyes almost popped out of his head. He couldn't believe that Long Chen was here. "Hong Yaoyang, you have some guts. Instead of being grateful for the lesson I gave you, you actually dared to harbor resentment. Today, I'll make sure that the lesson sticks. Prepare a diaper because I won't be leaving without beating the crap out of you." Long Chen and the pill furnace were completely covered in flames. They were like a lonely boat within an angry sea. The beasts that the karmic hell flames had manifested were crazily attacking him, but the other flames had formed a giant barrier around Long Chen, protecting him. With the support of the third volume of the Nirvana scripture, other than the karmic hell flames, all other flames had to listen to him. Those flames were helping him block the karmic hell flames of their own accord. At least for a short time, the karmic hell flames were unable to touch him. Long Chen's guess was that he should be able to control the karmic hell flames, but his current power was too low to make them submit. That was why they were fighting against him for supremacy. The demon moon furnace had grown to many times its original size, appearing like an island floating within the sea of flames. Lingo was absorbing the karmic hell flames for herself. When he asked her what she was doing, Lingo was unable to say. Long Chen's guess was that the demon moon furnace was originally created with the karmic hell flames. Most likely, there hadn't been enough karmic hell flames at the time, resulting in many areas of her body being improperly refined. That was why Lingo was using them to refine herself again. Standing within the sea of flames and staring at the shocked Hong Yaoyang, Long Chen felt a sense of pride. Perhaps the only one who dared to challenge a god in his realm was him. Regretfully, there was no way to use a photographic jade to record what was happening here. Otherwise, if he could spread it throughout the Martial Heaven continent, it would definitely terrify his enemies. Hong Yaoyang's expression was gloomy. He suddenly snorted and pointed a finger. As a result, divine light condensed into a sword and pierced through the air. However, in that instant, Long Chen vanished, hiding himself within the demon moon furnace. The demon moon furnace sank within the flames. As a result, his sword pierced through the karmic hell flames, blasting a hole through them. Hong Yaoyang turned green. The karmic hell flames began to rage. They crashed upon the palace like a tsunami. The sea of karmic hell flames seemed to have been provoked by Hong Yaoyang. They crashed against the Nether God Palace. "Long Chen, you despicable fellow, if you have the guts, come out and fight," roared Hong Yaoyang, clenching his teeth furiously. He knew he had been conned by Long Chen. The karmic hell flames were flames beyond his power as a god. Anything within the cycle of reincarnation could be incinerated by the karmic flames. In his fury, he had attacked Long Chen. Originally, he had locked Long Chen down with his divine power and had been confident that his blow would kill him. However, he hadn't expected Long Chen to easily escape his lock by being sucked into the demon moon furnace. As a result, he had planted the seed of karma between himself and the karmic hell flames when his attack struck them. Now, he would have to reap the consequences. The karmic hell flames currently viewed Long Chen and Hong Yaoyang as mortal enemies. With Long Chen hiding inside the demon moon furnace, the karmic hell flames couldn't reach him. He didn't even need to defend against them. Seeing the karmic hell flames attacking Hong Yaoyang, Long Chen laughed. "Hong Yaoyang, you weak coward, if you have the guts, come out and fight. If you don't come, I'm your granddaddy." "You." Hong Yaoyang was so infuriated that his hair was standing on end. Seeing Long Chen hiding within the demon moon furnace with the karmic hell flames powerless to touch him, Hong Yaoyang was completely enraged. He didn't dare to charge into the sea of karmic hell flames. If he attacked the karmic hell flames again, that would plant more karma between them. If it was just this amount of karmic hell flames, then that wasn't too worrisome. However, with too much karma, all of Purgatory's karmic hell flames would come out, and he would be doomed. Long Chen, do you think a turtle shell will protect you? Idiot, the karmic hell flames can only be unleashed for a limited amount of time. After 4 hours, they will be summoned back by the laws of Purgatory. Then I'll make you regret coming to this world, declared Hong Yaoyang. 4 hours. Did you hear that? Mo Nian, you have 4 hours, transmitted Long Chen. All right, I'll do my best to be quick, replied Mo Nian. Mo Nian had also run into trouble on his side. The sword's power was so great that it was taking a great deal of effort for the 5-element sun-hunting bow to absorb it. He needed to suppress it as his bow absorbed it. His original plan was for the 5-element sun-hunting bow to absorb the sword's power while he absorbed Hong Yaoyang's mortal Husk's inheritance. But now he could only go one at a time. Just from that reply, Long Chen knew that Mo Nian was having trouble. He needed to think of a way to stall. Hey, that little brat called Hong Yaoyang, do you have no ability at all? Get over here and fight. My blade has long since grown thirsty for your blood, called out Long Chen arrogantly. Hong Yaoyang sneered. You want to provoke me into attacking the karmic hell flames again? How childish. When the karmic hell flames retreat, we'll see if you can still be so arrogant. Hong Yaoyang refused to fall for it. If he attacked the karmic hell flames, he would draw more karma over. Their power would also increase. At the time I started being arrogant, you were still in diapers, sneered Long Chen. But as soon as he said this, he felt like he had gone a bit too far. That was a god of this world, an existence that had been living for who knew how many millennia. Haha, a little dash. Just as Hong Yaoyang laughed derisively, Long Chen came shooting out of the karmic hell flames, slapping him in the face. Hong Yaoyang hadn't had any defenses against Long Chen, someone he viewed as an ant. As a result, Long Chen's slap landed solidly on his face. Moreover, Long Chen's hand was enveloped by the karmic hell flames, setting Hong Yaoyang's face on fire. Hong Yaoyang roared and punched Long Chen. Even before the punch arrived, Long Chen felt like his body would crumble from the pressure. Long Chen vanished, reappearing within the demon moon furnace. This was a trick he had drilled in advance with Ling. With his mind connected to the demon moon furnace, he was able to instantly enter the demon moon furnace when it pulled on him. Such a thing wouldn't work on the martial heaven continent. But here in the Netherworld, he was just a Yuan spirit and not restricted in that way. Even a god's lock was escapable using this method. Long Chen's vanished, resulting in Hong Yaoyang's furious punch tearing through the karmic hell flames. Seeing the devastation resulting from this one punch, Long Chen smacked his lips. Damn, if that hit, not even 100 lives would be enough. Fortunately, they had been fast enough to get away. But Linga was afraid. Big brother Long Chen, don't play around anymore. If I was the slightest bit slower just now, you would have died. It's fine. Having fun is stimulating, laughed Long Chen. Big brother Long Chen, do you really have such faith in me? Asked Ling. Of course. You're my partner. I've entrusted my life to you when refining pills, so I can do it now as well, replied Long Chen as he looked through the karmic hell flames at the furious Hong Yaoyang. Big brother Long Chen, Lingner's voice shuddered. She had never had anyone that had any faith in her. Every one of her masters had simply used her to their own advantage. She was always viewed as a tool. Even if she was something so important that others would view her as important as their own life, she was just something to benefit others. She had never tasted what trust was. But working with Long Chen, she felt his absolute trust in her. That made her feel a gratitude that she had never felt before. Hong Yaoyang's expression changed. This punch of his was even stronger than his previous attack. The karmic hell flames were enraged. You bastard! Hong Yaoyang roared furiously. He hastily formed hand seals and then slammed his hands on the palace. He needed to raise the palace's defenses if he wanted it to survive. A wave of fire came crashing out of the flames as his hands slammed on the palace. Hong Yaoyang ignored it, allowing it to sweep over him. Just at that moment, a hand reached out from within the flames and struck him in the face. You shameless brat, do you dare to fight? Hong Yaoyang had never expected Long Chen to dare to attack again. As a result, another handprint appeared on the other side of his face. Hong Yaoyang was enraged. His hand reached out like a bolt of lightning to grab Long Chen. The clothes on Long Chen's shoulder were torn off, and several bloody holes appeared there. His blood gushed out. Hong Yaoyang had reacted so quickly that Long Chen hadn't had time to retreat. "Fuck off. You even dare to scratch me?" Long Chen twisted back, following the flow of the karmic hell flames to fall back. He said goodbye by landing a foot on Hong Yaoyang's nose. Hong Yaoyang felt a sour feeling on his nose, and tears streamed out. Although he was a god, in order to avoid karma, he had not summoned his strongest defenses. His more powerful defenses would cause a backlash to the karmic hell flames, which would increase the karma. As a result, by taking advantage of this, Long Chen managed to slap him twice and stamp his nose. Hong Yaoyang went crazy. "Die!" In his rage, Hong Yaoyang didn't care about any consequences. A sword suddenly appeared in his hand. The entire Netherworld shuddered when that sword appeared. Boom! Sword Chi cut the sea of karmic hell flames in two. This sword was capable of destroying an entire world. However, Hong Yaoyang was still one step too slow. As soon as Long Chen's foot had landed, he returned to the Demon Moon Furnace without waiting for Hong Yaoyang's reaction. Long Chen reacted even faster than Hong Yaoyang because he knew that in terms of speed, he couldn't compare to the god of this world. "Big brother Long Chen, please stop playing around. It's too frightening," exclaimed Ling. If Long Chen had been the slightest bit slower, he would no longer exist in this world. Okay, I'll stop playing." That was enough. Long Chen smiled. Karmic hell flames came gushing over, enveloping the sky. The flames were coming from every direction to attack the palace. "Long Chen, you bastard, you won't have a good death." Hong Yaoyang let out a bestial roar. He had been conned by Long Chen once more. This attack of his had fully provoked the karmic hell flames. The defenses outside of the palace had been incinerated, and the flames were now attacking the palace itself. "Hey, how can you curse people like that? It's classless." This time, Long Chen stayed right next to the Demon Moon Furnace, simply looking at Hong Yaoyang in a carefree manner. "Just wait." Hong Yaoyang roared and ignored Long Chen. He sat on top of the palace, an image of a throne appearing behind him. He was finally activating the power of the Nether God's throne. If he didn't, the palace would be incinerated. Divine light filled the palace, creating a barrier that blocked the karmic hell flames. However, he had barely stabilized the situation when his expression completely changed. He once more looked at Long Chen, his eyes full of killing intent. "You bastards, you're stealing my mortal husk. Why does your tone suck so much? What do you mean steal? We're not stealing, we're taking. Understand?" Long Chen lazily smiled at the furious Hong Yaoyang. With his connection to Emo Nien, he was able to sense that Emo Nien had finished absorbing the energy of the sword and had moved on to the mortal husk. However, Long Chen had told him to wait for a moment. The reason he had taken the risk to attack Hong Yaoyang again was to force him off his throne. Based on Long Chen's understanding of Leng Yueyin and Ming Zhangyue, he knew that the throne was the foundation of their power. If he didn't kick Hong Yaoyang off the throne, then perhaps it would have been possible for him to stop Emo Nien from taking his mortal husk. After seeing how infuriated Hong Yaoyang was, Long Chen guessed that he had been correct. The blood pool and divine sword had lost most of their connection to him before this, but his mortal husk was different. It was his past life. Although he had buried it, it wasn't completely severed. So he had sensed it when Emo Nien began to touch it. Unfortunately for him, the karmic hell flames were crazily assaulting his palace. Long Chen's ability at causing trouble had brought a calamity upon him, while Long Chen was hiding inside the Demon Moon Furnace. Since he didn't attack them further, the karmic hell flames were focused on Hong Yaoyang. The karmic hell flames had been provoked by Long Chen at the beginning due to him using the Nirvana scripture to control all flames. They didn't want to listen to his orders due to how weak he was. Even with the Nirvana scripture, they were unwilling, so they fought. Now that Long Chen was simply hiding and not further antagonizing them, the karmic hell flames lost a great deal of their hostility toward him. Their attacks were concentrated on Hong Yaoyang. These karmic hell flames are terrifying, but they aren't united. If used properly, then even a god could be incinerated in an instant. Long Chen sighed emotionally as he watched the karmic hell flames attack the palace. At this moment, Hong Yaoyang focused entirely on blocking the assault of the karmic hell flames. He had no time to bother with his mortal husk. That was precisely the result that Long Chen had been looking for. The demon moon furnace slowly floated above the sea of flames. Long Chen poked his head out. The flames protecting him dissipated. When he stopped using the Nirvana scripture, the karmic hell flames no longer felt that he was trying to control them, and they stopped targeting him. Now he even dissipated the other flames to express his sincerity. Showing that he posed no threat to them, the karmic hell flames didn't bother him. Hong Yaoyang, work hard. I look favorably upon you, encouraged Long Chen. Hong Yaoyang almost died from rage. His palace was surrounded by karmic hell flames, and he was only able to bitterly hold on. He couldn't even stop his mortal husk from being stolen. Normally, a single strand of his divine power sent to his mortal husk could wipe out Emonian, but now he had to focus entirely on the karmic hell flames. He didn't dare to get distracted. If his palace was incinerated, then his throne would be vulnerable. His throne was the foundation of his power. If it was damaged, he would lose his power. If his throne was damaged, his divine energy would fade away. Tens of thousands of years of cultivation would be gone in an instant. He should be able to wipe out Long Chen with a smack, but he didn't dare to at this moment. Seeing him standing there so carelessly, Hong Yaoyang felt like he might explode. All he could do was focus all his power on blocking the karmic hell flames. Once they used up all their energy, they would return to purgatory, and then he could wipe out Long Chen and Emonian. He was in a race against time. It would just be up to who could achieve their goal first. Hong Yaoyang was a bit regretful that he had been too careless. He had provoked the karmic hell flames. How had that landed him in this plight? Emonian, hurry up. This fellow has seen through our goal, messaged Long Chen. Don't worry, I'm almost done, replied Emonian. Hearing that, Long Chen relaxed. Looking around, he asked Linga, when you absorb the karmic hell flames, can you help me absorb a bit for myself as well? Not much, just a tiny bit. Long Chen returned to within the demon moon furnace. Hua Long was currently in slumber within the heavenly flame orb. He wanted a bit of the karmic hell flames for it to absorb in the future. With Hua Long's constant growth, he felt that it would be possible for Hua Long to gain the power of the karmic hell flames if it devoured some of them. If Hua Long could transform its flames into karmic hell flames, just how terrifying would that be? Linger assented, and a ball of dark red liquid slowly condensed within one of her runes. Amazing, praised Long Chen. The demon moon furnace was actually able to draw in some of the karmic hell flames so easily. Furthermore, its innate will had weakened. The demon moon furnace was truly a supreme treasure. Long Chen formed a hand seal, and a translucent flame wrapped around the karmic hell flames. The karmic hell flames actually ignited the inverse Tao water spirit flame. Hua Long is still in slumber, so the flame energy I can control is much weaker. Long Chen shook his head. With his current flame energy, it seemed that it would be very difficult to subdue even a single drop of the karmic hell flames. Time to risk it all. Long Chen clenched his teeth and directly sent the karmic hell flames into Emonian's astral space. Boom. Emonian's astral space was instantly set ablaze. What are you doing? Are you trying to incinerate my astral space? Emonian's voice rang out from the other side. The drop of karmic hell flames vanished in the next moment. The heaven-flipping seal had sent it into the primal chaos space. It had only been in Emonian's astral space for the blink of an eye. However, in that blink of an eye, Emonian's giant astral space became a barren land. Black space twisted just from its passing. Long Chen hadn't even alerted Emonian in advance, making him jump. If his astral space was destroyed, he would be doomed. Ignoring Emonian, Long Chen waited for Evelmun's reply. Very quickly, it replied that the karmic hell flames had been suppressed. Nice. The primal chaos bead has never disappointed me. Long Chun clapped his leg excitedly. The primal chaos bead was truly amazing. Ling, help me absorb some more, but do your best not to disturb them too much to avoid them targeting us. One drop after another of the karmic hell flames passed through Mo Nian's astral space, making Mo Nian cry out. He demanded an answer. Long Chun replied that he had to focus on his own work and absorb the mortal husk. Nothing else was worth his attention. Using Mo Nian's astral space as a conduit, he sent more and more of the karmic hell flames into the primal chaos space. As he moved more and more of them, he found that as long as he was fast enough, the damage to Mo Nian's astral space was almost negligible. Furthermore, any damage slowly recovered in time. It wouldn't affect his combat power. Big brother Long Chun, I'm finished. I've completely removed all the impurities in my body, said Linger excitedly. Hee, excellent. Then help me absorb more of the karmic hell flames. This is very useful to me. All right. Linger began to help Long Chun absorb more and more of the karmic hell flames. They gushed out of her runes and condensed into a foot-long ball. Nice. Long Chun's heart pounded excitedly. If such a large amount of karmic hell flames were not controlled properly, then they would blow up Mo Nian's astral space. If that happened, Mo Nian might just come for his life. He pushed his spiritual strength to the max to maintain the stability of that sphere. He passed it through Mo Nian's astral space as fast as possible. The flame sphere didn't even land on the ground, but it left a mass of violently twisting black space within Mo Nian's astral space. However, it didn't damage his astral space. Seeing that Long Chun was at ease, he began to absorb more and more. Last time, he hadn't had a chance to gather any of them. Just thinking about how he had missed that chance filled him with regret. This time, he wasn't going to miss this opportunity. Fortunately, there were so many karmic hell flames outside that they didn't seem to feel any sense of alarm with him stealing a bit. An incense stick's worth of time later, Long Chun suddenly sensed that the power of the karmic hell flames was starting to decline. Mo Nian, are you done yet? There's not much time left. Previously, Hong Yaoyang had said that it would take 4 hours for the karmic hell flames to retreat. However, it had not even been 2 hours, and they were already showing signs of declining. It was unknown what trick Hong Yaoyang had played. I just finished. Now what? Should we find a place to meet up? Asked Mo Nian. No need. I'll send the demon moon furnace into your spiritual space. You summon her and enter, and then the heaven-flipping seal can send you to my side. Long Chun covered himself in his flame protection. He left the demon moon furnace's protection and sent it into Mo Nian's spiritual space. Within the sea of karmic hell flames, Long Chun felt like he was going to be incinerated. He estimated that he would be dead within 3 breaths' time. Fortunately, Mo Nian was quick. Long Chun summoned the demon moon furnace again and immediately entered. Damn, you did all this? When Mo Nian arrived, he stared in amazement at the scene before him. Hong Yaoyang? So a bastard like you has fallen into such a state. With the demon moon furnace floating above the sea of flames, Mo Nian came out and laughed at Hong Yaoyang. Hong Yaoyang was pale, and the divine light coming out of him was showing signs of fading. It seemed that he had also reached his limit. Bastard, you dare to steal my inheritance? Raged Hong Yaoyang. What do you mean steal? I took it. At best, you can consider it plundering. Hee, little brat, you chased me down for so long. What's wrong with me taking a little bit back? Don't like it? Bite me. Mo Nian laughed. Seeing Hong Yaoyang's current plight made him want to dance in excitement. Alright, stop messing around. We don't have much time left. Once the karmic hell flames retreat, even if that fellow's exhausted, he can kill us with a single attack. Long Chun pulled Mo Nian away. It seemed that he had forgotten their current situation and simply wanted to enrage Hong Yaoyang to death. Fine. We got our revenge and some treasures. We can go. There's nothing to stay for. The only regret I have is that I didn't get to slap him as well. It's so regretful. How about I go and try it right now? Asked Mo Nian unwillingly. Hong Yaoyang coughed up a mouthful of blood. The multicolored blood faded into the air in a wave of divine power. Damn, what a pretty sight. Brother, I'll give you money if you show me that again. As a hick, I have never seen such a sight. Exclaimed Mo Nien. You. Hong Yaoyang clamped his mouth shut. Blood leaked out. If you have to, just cough it out. Holding it in must be painful. Furthermore, if you just hold it, it won't go anywhere. Well, if you don't want it to go out from the top, you can let it go out from the bottom. But if you pull down your pants, it won't be as nice of a sight, sighed Mo Nien. Hong Yaoyang didn't reply. When Mo Nien was about to continue antagonizing him, Long Chen stopped him. He cut off his divine sense. He can't hear you. Let's go. Fine. Although I didn't get to piss him to death, I've gained enough, hee, chortled Mo Nien. Suddenly, he saw that Long Chen was sending the demon moon furnace to the direction of the palace. Hey, where are you going? It was so hard for us to come here. How can we not take a little bit back before leaving? This door bolt is a treasure. Long Chen pointed to a certain set of gates in the palace. You can't be serious. Mo Nien looked at those gates. His face twitched. They were so tall that he couldn't see the top of them. The two doors had a notch between them with a giant door bolt keeping them closed. The doot bolt was pitch black and emitted a hair-raising aura. Even without Long Chen saying anything, Mo Nien knew that it was a treasure. But no matter how big his guts were, there was no way he would dare to do such a thing. Is this even possible? Demanded Mo Nien. It's fine. I've done a similar thing twice. This time, we'll even have the protection of the karmic hell flames, said Long Chen, completely relaxed. Bastards, what are you doing? Demanded Hong Yaoyang, his expression changing. We're going to leave, but you're pretty rude not to send us off with a gift. So we'll be taking one ourselves. Long Chen and Mo Nien arrived at the gates. There was a strange force around the gates that prevented the karmic hell flames from approaching. Long Chen and Mo Nien no longer needed to block them. Looking at the giant door bolt, Mo Nien felt a fire light up within him. He had no idea what material it was made of, but the energy it gave off was incredibly evil. He wondered if the heaven-swallowing, sun-hunting bow could absorb it. Mo Nien tried to lift the bolt, but even with his full power, he wasn't able to budge it. Damn, it's too heavy. On the other side of the bolt, Long Chen also lifted with his full power. As a result, the door bolt did quiver slightly. However, that was all. He was far away from lifting it. It's no good. We can't lift it, said Mo Nien. We can. Come over here. We'll lift from the same direction and make the bolt lose its balance and fall off, said Long Chen. Mo Nien flew over. Long Chen took a deep breath and summoned the Azure Dragon battle armor. Mo Nien also used his full power. Slowly, the door bolt began to rise. Rumbling sounds rang out. Stop. Those are the holders of evil. If the gates are opened, you'll be instantly killed, shouted Hong Yaoyang. This slight distraction caused the palace to quiver, and the karmic hell flames got even closer, causing him to jump and return his focus on them. What are the holders of evil? They look pretty evil themselves, asked Mo Nien spiritually. He didn't have the energy to open his mouth. It has nothing to do with us. Work hard. The karmic hell flames are getting weaker. They'll probably vanish in a little bit, replied Long Chen as he lifted. Stop, roared Hong Yaoyang. Long Chen ignored him. The door bolt slowly began to slide off. Hong Yaoyang was roaring, but Long Chen chose to ignore him. Eventually, after sliding off a certain extent, the doot bolt fell. Now! Long Chen flew after it and grabbed a corner. Space twisted and the door knocker vanished, reappearing in Mo Nien's astral space. Boom! The door bolt landed on the ground and a wave of earth exploded. Cracks filled his astral space. Mo Nien cried out, "Are you trying to kill me?" His entire astral space was cracked. It was just one step from exploding. Mo Nien was drenched in sweat. Just at that moment, the doors rumbled and a sinister air came out of the crack in the doors. A terrifying sensation of death filled Long Chen and Mo Nien. Run! Without hesitation, the two of them hid within the demon moon furnace. A burst of mysterious energy exploded out of the gates. Following that, black chi gushed out, filling this world. Even the karmic hell flames were blasted away by that black chi. The impact caused them to retreat back into purgatory. It's over. This netherworld is done for. Seeing the black chi invading this world, Hong Yaoyang's expression was one of hatred and despair. Long Chen and Mo Nian had vanished, and he was just foolishly staring at the open gates. He suddenly roared, "Long Chen and that other bastard, just wait. I will definitely find you." Following that, the palace split apart in the middle. Hong Yaoyang grabbed the upper half and flew away, vanishing across the horizon. It wasn't long after he left that the black chi filled the entire netherworld. Countless dark creatures came out of the gates. They roared, their voices full of resentment. Within the Mo family's ancestral land, the family head, Moe, and Lu Zongying were silently standing there like statues. Every blink of an eye felt as long as a year. Long Chen's life force had faded away, but there was still the slightest aura of his spirit. However, those spiritual fluctuations would occasionally fade, making their hearts clench. They didn't even dare to take a deep breath. They were waiting for a miracle. It had been 7 days, but there were no signs of either of them waking up. Suddenly, Long Chen's body twitched. He began to breathe, delighting them. Lu Zongying cried out, "Long Chen, you're awake." "Mo Nian, is he?" Long Chen had been planning on teasing her a bit, but seeing how nervous she was, he decided against it. "Don't worry, he's fine. You can sense that his soul is back." At this moment, they realized that Mo Nian was no longer dead. However, he was still unconscious. Lu Zongying immediately grabbed Mo Nian and wept tears of joy. Even Mo Yi's eyes grew wet. "Long Chen, what's wrong with Mo Nian? Why isn't he awake?" asked Mo. Long Chen was embarrassed. It was because Mo Nian was focused entirely on repairing his astral space after the door knocker had damaged it. If it wasn't repaired quickly, there was a chance it could shatter. He would only wake up once his astral space had recovered from that crisis. It was Long Chen's miscalculation, so he didn't know how to explain it. Just at that moment, alarms began to blare from above. Moe and the family head's expressions changed. Enemy attack. "Senior, you should stay here to prevent the worst-case scenario." "I'll go up," said Long Chen. The family head nodded. "All right, Nianer's safety is number one. I'll leave things to you." Although this was the most hidden part of the Mo family's ancestral land, the family head had to be careful. He and Lu Zongying stayed behind, while Long Chen and Moe flew off. They passed through the layers of blockades. Boom! The Mo family's grand formation shattered. A giant arrow shot toward the Mo family's main palace. Courting death. Someone really was attacking the Mo family. Seeing that giant arrow, Long Chen appeared beside it and grabbed it. This was an exploding arrow that had reached the heart of the Mo family. If it exploded here, it would kill quite a few people. Long Chen was about to send it into the primal chaos space, but just at that moment, his expression changed. Killing intent raged in his eyes. Boom! The arrow exploded. It was actually being controlled by someone, so it didn't need to crash into something to explode. Countless fragments shot out of it, but those were blasted into powder by Long Chen. Despite that, a chi wave spread in every direction. The closest buildings were crushed, and countless experts of the Mo family coughed up blood, with some who were too close directly dying from the shockwave. This exploding arrow was an extremely terrifying killing tool. "Protect Old Man Moe," ordered Long Chen, already shooting off in a certain direction. In a single step, Long Chen saw a group of people in a giant flying boat rushing away. The people on that flying boat were wearing robes of the ancient family alliance. Upon seeing Long Chen, they didn't hesitate. All the giant ballistas on the flying boat pointed toward him. Fire! One arrow after another shot through the air. Explosions shook the sky as they exploded on contact with Long Chen. "Let's go!" The elder who had given the order to fire immediately ordered them to retreat without even looking at the result. The flying boat transformed into a streak of light. Boom! However, that flying boat was suddenly cut in two by black saber light. The experts at the center of the flying boat were wiped out of existence. "Wanna go? Leave your lives behind first." Long Chen sneered and flew toward the elder. This sneak attack against the Mo family was bizarre. This leader of theirs was only a third-step nether passage expert. They didn't have the power to attack the Mo family. This was clearly courting death. Suddenly, the surrounding land exploded. Sword chi shot out from every direction at Long Chen. A formation? Long Chen was surprised. This was a trap. Every ray of sword chi was on par with the attack of a fourth-step nether passage expert. This killing formation had been set up far in advance. Long Chen, your death is at hand. The elder laughed. His terrified expression had been an act. The dozen rays of sword chi intersected with Long Chen at the center. A blinding light filled this place. Thousands of experts began to come out of the surrounding mountains and rush over. Quick, see if you can find Long Chen's corpse. It would be best if he's still alive, shouted the elder. The elder took out another flying boat. At this moment, the Mo family's experts were rushing over. Space was still twisting violently from the formation's attack. People didn't dare to get close. It would be best if I was alive? Then you can die. Long Chen's icy voice suddenly rang out. Like a curse from hell, those experts froze. Then, without a second thought, they fled. At that moment, a pill furnace slowly appeared within the twisting space. This was the Demon Moon Furnace. Those attacks weren't something that Long Chen's physical body could endure, so he had simply summoned the Demon Moon Furnace. Having been tempered by the Karmic Hell Flames, it blocked those attacks without any effort at all. Are you in such a rush? I'll send you on your way quickly. Long Chen snorted. The runes on top of the Demon Moon Furnace lit up. Flame arrows shot out. The experts flying were rapidly struck and incinerated without being able to scream. As for the elder on the flying boat, he had fled as soon as Long Chen's voice had appeared. By the time Long Chen was done killing the other experts, the elder had vanished. His flying boat was very fast. Long Chen put away the Demon Moon Furnace. Lightning wings appeared on his back. Long Chen, you should not chase a cornered enemy. Mo Yi's voice rang out from behind him. He was worried that there would be even worse traps up ahead. He had also realized that the sneak attack on the Mo family had occurred only because their real target was Long Chen. Don't worry about me. I'm confident. Long Chen vanished. A cornered enemy? No, it was a rich enemy. Long Chen accelerated, quickly managing to sense the flying boat. However, he chose not to charge onto the flying boat. Instead, he maintained a distance where he could sense the flying boat, but it couldn't sense him. Since their target was him, there wouldn't be a follow-up attack on the Mo family. What he wanted to know was what drug his enemy had taken to do this. Following the flying boat, he realized that they were going straight to the headquarters of the Ancient Family Alliance. Di Feng, your guts are getting bigger. The Ancient Family Alliance's headquarters was located in a desert within the Central Plains. This desert had a certain oasis that was like an island within a sea of sand, and it was covered by a giant formation. The flying boat reached the oasis and slipped through the formation. Ripples appeared on the barrier before it accepted its pass. When Long Chen arrived, the formation rumbled, and countless runic swords condensed on top of the formation, pointing at Long Chen. Who goes there? Countless experts of the Ancient Family Alliance appeared, their weapons pointed at Long Chen. I want to say that I'm your dad, but I feel like that would be insulting myself. Do you not know who I am? But Long Chen looked coldly at the head of these guards, who was a Nether Passage disciple. Perhaps there might be some members of the senior generation who didn't know him. Some old monsters would go into seclusion for decades or centuries. It was normal for them to not know of him. However, a young disciple of the current generation? It was impossible that he didn't recognize Long Chen. Long Chen, what are you doing here? Demanded that disciple. To say that he wasn't afraid in front of Long Chen would be a lie. He was a figure that terrified the Martial Heaven continent the most. Once he was enraged, he dared to do anything. Many people who had thought themselves powerful had died to him. Although they were also new Nether Passage experts just like Long Chen, compared to him, they were as weak as ants. Long Chen could wipe them out with a wave of his hand. However, as members of the Ancient Family Alliance, They refuse to look too weak. I won't make things hard on you. Tell Di Long and Di Feng that Daddy Long has come. If they don't come out, I'll go in myself to find them. But my temper is not very good, so I might kill some people I don't like on the way. I'll give you 10 breaths time. As for what they choose, I don't care, said Long Chen coldly. In truth, there was no need for these disciples to report it. Someone had to have reported it as soon as he arrived. But Long Chen was still giving them some time to prepare. After a moment, Long Chen slowly walked closer to the formation, causing those disciples' expressions to change. Long Chen, what are you doing? Time's up. If you don't want to die, get out of the way. Of course, if you want to become martyrs, I don't mind helping you achieve that goal. Long Chen raised Evil Moon. A giant saber image condensed in the sky. Those disciples instantly fled. They didn't dare to block Long Chen. Long Chen, don't you think your bullying has gone a bit too far this time? A group of people flew over with Di Long and Di Feng at the front. There was another person with them that surprised Long Chen. A flash of comprehension appeared in his eyes. Long Chen, what are you doing? It was Feng Fei. She was frowning at Long Chen, seemingly disgusted with his current actions. Long Chen indifferently spat out, killing people. Killing people. The ancient family alliance's experts began to curse at him, infuriated by Long Chen's attitude. Long Chen, what are you trying to do? You came to the headquarters of the ancient family alliance to kill people? What an absolute tyrant. When did the ancient family alliance provoke you? Do you really think no one can handle you? Senior Feng Fei is here right now, and you still dare to act so arrogant? Di Long waved his hand, causing them to shut their mouths. Long Chen, I don't know how my ancient family alliance has offended you, but please tell me. If we really did something wrong, I will immediately apologize. But if you came here just to cause trouble, then although we are weaker, we will not allow anyone to humiliate us. Haha. Long Chen laughed as if he had heard the world's funniest joke. What are you laughing at? Demanded Di Long. Long Chen stopped laughing and looked at the father-son duo. I'm laughing at how interesting you are. You are actually playing such a childish game with me. You want to use someone else's blade to kill me? What nonsense are you spouting? If you have something to say it directly, shouted Di Feng coldly. Long Chen lazily said, you launched a sneak attack on the Mo family and laid down a trap for me. If you killed me with that trap, then good. If you didn't, then you would draw me here and act innocent so that someone else would help you? Not bad, not bad. Very interesting. Di Feng's expression sank. Long Chen, you're too arrogant. If the ancient family alliance wishes to deal with you, then I am enough on my own. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Feng, don't waste words with him. He's just trying to cause trouble. Di Long said, Long Chen, if you want revenge, you should just do it directly. Don't make up such immature excuses. Today, we'll show you that the spine of the ancient family alliance will not bend to anyone. Di Long turned to Feng Fei and apologized. I am truly sorry, Senior Feng Fei. You only just came, but I have failed as a host. This is a personal problem of my ancient family alliance, so I will have to ask you not to interfere. Even if every person within the ancient family alliance must fight to the death, we will not accept other people's insults. Feng Fei frowned. She looked at Long Chen and coldly said, Long Chen, can you not cause trouble? The martial heaven continent is starting to enter the dark era. Is there a point in killing our own people? Long Chen looked at Feng Fei and shook his head. He sighed. Although I know that a conflict with you is precisely what these two want, I have to say that you really irritate me. Did you get water in your head? Without even determining the truth, you call me someone who stirs up trouble and kills allies? Are you sure there's nothing wrong with your brain? Long Chen was angry. This Feng Fei was really stupid. Di Long and Di Feng were putting on a show for her to see, and it seemed that she didn't notice at all. He had originally been hoping to explain things to her, but now he didn't even have a desire to try. Long Chen understood their plan now. They had attacked the Mo family to draw him out. As for their killing formation, they didn't have much hope for that. If it failed, that would definitely infuriate Long Chen and draw him over here. He didn't know why Feng Fei was here, but it definitely wasn't a coincidence. The Di family definitely didn't have the power to invite her here. Most likely the Yi family was behind it. With Feng Fei visiting, the Di family would definitely go all out to receive her and give her a good impression. Perhaps that included some rumors about Long Chen that created lots of hostility toward him. Although he didn't know the exact course of events, he found this general plan to be not bad. Feng Fei was incredibly powerful, but as someone from the divine families, she had been respected from a young age, so no one would dare to use schemes like this against her. As a result, such a simple plot had worked wonders on her. She was directly against Long Chen. Brazen Long Chen, you dare to disrespect Senior Feng Fei? In the distance, Feng Fei's attendants cursed at him. They had followed her for many years and had never witnessed someone be so rude to her. He even called her a brainless woman. Senior Feng Fei, as long as you give the word, I will immediately kill him for you. Feng Fei's attendants had taken out their swords. What? If you have an illness, you should accept it instead of killing people who bring it up, sneered Long Chen. Did I say something wrong? This is such a clear trap, yet Feng Fei has jumped into it to be used by them. If that doesn't mean that there's a problem with her brain, what does it mean? Long Chen. Di Feng shouted. You can insult me, but you can't insult Senior Feng Fei. Immediately kowtow and apologize. Kowtow and apologize? I've never seen such a thing before. Why don't you teach me how by doing it yourself? Sneered Long Chen. You. Di Feng gasped, not knowing how to respond. Feng Fei stepped forward. Are you forcing me to kill you? Just your disrespect toward me is enough to give me countless reasons to kill you. The Long family wouldn't be able to protect you. My disrespect to you? Long Chen had an inconceivable expression on his face. Why would I have to respect you at all? Respect must be mutual. You don't respect me, so why should I respect you? Are you a sovereign? Well, not even a sovereign forced everyone to respect them. Do you think you're someone even above the sovereign? The more he spoke, the more Long Chen felt that this term, disrespect, was incredibly laughable and nauseating. Long Chen, you've antagonized me multiple times now. If I keep being accommodating to you, you'll think that I'm afraid of you. Come, I'll give you a chance. Use your full power so I can see if you can last even 10 exchanges against me. Feng Fei was finally enraged. Her eyes were icy. His aura began to unfurl, filling the air with an invisible pressure. Feng Fei hadn't even fully unleashed her aura. This was just her aura starting to leak out from her anger, but the pressure she gave off was not at all inferior to any fourth-step nether passage expert. Once her full power was unleashed, just how terrifying would she be? Di Long and Di Feng exchanged a glance. They were both shocked at how powerful Feng Fei was. But within that shock was also some delight. Things were going much smoother than they had anticipated. They had arranged many backup plans that they no longer needed. Give it up and put away your intimidating aura. Even if you are powerful, you don't really intend to kill me, so it's meaningless. If you just want to teach me a lesson, then let's skip it. I'm specialized in killing people. As for exchanging blows, I don't have the time nor energy to waste on that. Long Chen shook his head. Although Feng Fei was enraged, Long Chen didn't sense much killing intent. She just wanted to defeat him to vent. Precisely due to that, Long Chen didn't care to fight with her. His specialty wasn't in exchanging blows but in killing. If you're afraid, then you're afraid. Making up some grand lie to cover up your cowardice is shameless. Since you've admitted you're not a match for Senior Feng Fei, kneel and apologize. Senior Feng Fei is magnanimous and will definitely let you off, said one of Feng Fei's attendants disdainfully. I've heard that Long Chen is domineering and arrogant, but this is it? Rumors are just rumors. His true face has been shown today. He likes to provoke Senior Feng Fei, but once she's mad, he doesn't even dare to let out a fart. What kind of crap is this? This is the Martial Heaven Continent's #1 expert of the junior generation? Trish. The ancient family alliance's experts began to add in their own taunts, doing their best to anger Long Chen. Suddenly, a pill furnace appeared behind Long Chen's back. Its runes lit up, and a strange fluctuation spread. Long Chen, Feng Fei jumped. She recognized that pill furnace to be a demon furnace. The experts who had just mocked Long Chen suddenly felt something pounding in their heads. Following that, their heads exploded. In an instant, hundreds of the ancient family alliance's experts were slain. They died without even understanding how they died. As a result, an uproar exploded amongst the ancient family alliance's experts. A group of ants dares to make a racket? You should quiet down. The demon moon furnace's runes were emitting a bewitching light that illuminated Long Chen. That light was sinister and frightening. Both Di Long and Di Feng were shocked. They had no idea that Long Chen possessed such a terrifying move. No one, including Feng Fei, had been able to stop it. Breaking open the demon heart to consume a person. I didn't think that you had merged your soul with a demonic weapon. No wonder you're so arrogant. Fine, since you have such a powerful demonic weapon, you should be qualified to have a battle with me. After a moment of shock, battle intent rose within Feng Fei. The appearance of the demon moon furnace made her want to fight Long Chen even more. A demon heart eruption. That was the technique that the demon moon furnace had just used, and it was the first time that the demon moon furnace had ever employed its ability to kill for Long Chen. The fact that Feng Fei was able to tell what this technique was surprised Long Chen. As expected, she really was knowledgeable. Her fighting spirit had been ignited with the appearance of the demon moon furnace. However, Long Chen shook his head. I don't have a reason to fight you. It would be best if you didn't make trouble for no reason. I don't want to be played for a fool by others. No matter if he won or lost, as long as he ended up in a fight with Feng Fei, it would be falling for Di Long's plot. By fighting with a figure as powerful as Feng Fei, he would have to expose his trump cards. That's not up to you. Feng Fei stepped forward. No manifestation appeared, no aura erupted. But with a simple wave of her hand, the void twisted. The location that Long Chen was in collapsed. Up, down, front, back, left, right, there was nowhere to run. This simple wave of her hand was like a dome covering Long Chen, forcing him to receive her attack. Long Chen was infuriated. This Feng Fei really did have something wrong with her brain. Even though she was clearly being used, she was still doing it. Long Chen also snorted and waved his hand. Just the same as her, he didn't summon his divine ring or battle armor. It was a simple exchange of palms. However, as he unleashed his palm, the divine gate within his mind opened and spiritual strength exploded forth. Feng Fei had used her powerful spiritual strength to twist the laws of space, so Long Chen returned the blow with his own spiritual strength. When their two palms intersected, there was no massive explosion. Instead, a tempest of soul energy erupted. Screams rang out. The closest experts felt like their souls would be torn apart. Di Long, Di Feng, and the other experts of the ancient family alliance were all startled. They hadn't expected the two of them to instantly start competing in spiritual strength. The stronger experts protected the weaker ones, dragging them back until they were far enough away. The spiritual tempest created strange spatial abnormalities. Startled cries rang out. They were all shocked to see a formless power like spiritual strength damage the void to such an extent. Spiritual strength was formless. It was difficult for it to cause damage to physical objects that didn't possess souls. But with Long Chen and Feng Fei's palms still connected, the people saw wild vortexes of power raging behind the two of them. Those vortexes seemed to contain sharp blades that were cutting through the void. Everyone present was a powerful expert in their own right, but they had never seen such powerful spiritual strength. They continued to retreat, because even at this distance, they still felt sharp pain in their souls. The spiritual tempest continued to spread. Heaven and earth changed color. You refuse to fight with me and want to compete in just spiritual strength, but you didn't realize that spiritual strength is my strongest area. I'd advise you to go for a real fight, or you won't have the slightest chance of winning, said Feng Fei like an arrogant phoenix. Spiritual strength is your strongest area? Then let's compete in it, snorted Long Chen. Long Chen didn't want to have a real fight with her, but this foolish woman was forcing him to. Since Feng Fei had said that her spiritual strength was her strongest aspect, Long Chen used words to trap her into just competing with spiritual strength. That way, he wouldn't need to reveal more trump cards. Fool. Did you think being an alchemist would give you an advantage? Since you're so arrogant, don't blame me if you die. Feng Fei was angered by his indifference. She suddenly retreated. As she fell back, she quickly formed 17 hand seals in one breath. Heaven and earth quivered. A giant illusory figure slowly condensed. A phoenix cry rang out, shaking people's ears. Even after having retreated to a great distance, the ancient family alliance's experts felt like their souls would be crushed. Feng Fei had condensed a giant phoenix. It looked alive, with its divine radiance filling the world. With a flap of its wings, the laws of heaven and earth shook. What is that? The phoenix's wild aura was even more frightening than the aura of a fourth-step nether passage expert. However, it didn't have any of the aura of a magical beast or Xian beast. Summon your life soul beast. We'll finish this in one move. Feng Fei floated into the sky, her phoenix behind her. It illuminated her in a peerlessly beautiful light, but her voice was chilling. My life soul beast? Long Chen suddenly recalled Meng Qi mentioning that there was a method to condense a soul beast within the myriad spirit diagram. However, condensing a soul beast required a powerful beast soul. The higher the quality of the beast soul, the stronger the soul beast that could be condensed. Meng Qi had never found a suitable beast soul, so she had never condensed a soul beast. Condensing a soul beast required a huge amount of soul energy, and a life soul beast required ripping away a portion of the body's soul seed to condense it. A person could only have a single life soul beast. It was both a tool for battle as well as an assistance to cultivation. Due to possessing the 9 Lotus Soul Condensing Pill, Meng Qi had never thought of condensing a soul beast. However, the 9 Lotus Soul Condensing Pill wasn't for battle. Seeing this terrifying soul beast, Long Chen's heart sank. His soul energy was powerful, but he had never spent his time practicing soul arts, let alone condensing a soul beast. Beating you doesn't require me taking out my life soul beast. If you have the ability, force it out. Long Chen thickened his face to boast. Feng Fei was further enraged. Long Chen was actually looking down on her. Her gaze turned cold and her hand seals changed. The phoenix behind her let out a sharp cry and charged at Long Chen. Wherever the phoenix passed, a vortex of collapsed space was left behind. Despite clearly being condensed of spiritual strength, it was no different than if it was alive. It possessed its own killing intent that filled the air. As expected of Senior Feng Fei, this spiritual attack is practically impossible to block. Feng, if you were facing her, could you receive this blow? Di Long transmitted to Di Feng. If it was before, I definitely wouldn't be able to block it. However, now I've fully awakened my Blood Emperor bloodline and merged with the Blood Emperor's soul. With the Blood Emperor's soul assisting me, I should have no problem against this move, said Di Feng with a smile. But remember, you can't expose your current power. Once you enter the Star Field Divine World and can control Samsara power, the Emperor's power will be fully within your grasp. At that time, Long Chen will be nothing, but for now you must endure. Long Chen is no longer your target. Your targets are those like Feng Fei. The divine families are using us, but why can't we use them as well? You just need to keep sucking up to that mother of yours. Sooner or later, the Yi family will be ours to control, understood? I married that idiot woman and endured so much over the years just to assist you. Don't disappoint me, said Di Long. Father, don't worry. Your child won't disappoint you, promised Di Feng. Boom. Just at that moment, an explosion interrupted their silent conversation. A giant pill furnace had appeared to block the phoenix. That was the demon moon furnace. However, it was not its true body. It was something condensed of Long Chen's spiritual strength. Long Chen had been hesitating over what form he should use to block, and so he had randomly decided on the form of the demon moon furnace. Unexpectedly, when he used his spiritual strength to imitate the demon moon furnace, the actual demon moon furnace lit up and assisted. Big brother Long Chen, I don't really understand this technique. At best, I can give you 20% of my power, said Linger apologetically. The demon moon furnace had gone through countless masters, and she remembered a bit about every master. She had encountered someone who had used this kind of technique. After flipping through countless memories, she had only found this one way to assist Long Chen. But that master's soul arts were not that powerful. Well done. That's amazing, praised Long Chen. With 20% of the demon moon furnace's power, that could make his spiritual strength many times more solid. Long Chen was not skilled in fighting with spiritual strength. Summoning his soul outside his body was different from refining pills. It was a completely different style that he had not practiced before. With Linger's assistance keeping the form that he had summoned stable, Long Chen just needed to fully display his spiritual strength. He was confident that his own spiritual strength would not lose to anyone. Your spiritual strength is this loose, and you dare to be so arrogant? Feng Fei snorted. Energy suddenly poured out of her and into the phoenix's head. The phoenix's eyes began to glow. Golden light shot out of them. 2 cracks appeared within the pill furnace that Long Chen had summoned. Following that, the entire thing crumbled. The demon moon furnace that Long Chen had condensed with his spiritual strength was instantly destroyed. It was unable to block a single attack from the phoenix. Long Chen was shocked. Feng Fei's spiritual attack was incredibly sharp. Despite their spiritual strength being relatively even, with Long Chen feeling like his spiritual strength was actually somewhat stronger, when it came to using that spiritual strength, he was far inferior. Feng Fei's attack continued without pause, crashing into Long Chen's mind sea. Long Chen's body turned rigid. Feng Fei herself jumped. She had thought that with Long Chen's arrogance, he had to have some power. But his spiritual furnace was instantly broken, and her attack had continued into his mind sea. He would definitely die. She had only been angry with Long Chen for being so disrespectful to her and cursing her for being stupid. She had wanted to teach him a lesson, not kill him. Who would have thought that despite having such powerful spiritual strength, he had no idea how to use it? She didn't even have time to recall her attack. She felt a trace of remorse inside, but it was too late. Just at this moment, the divine gate star within Long Chen's mind sea shuddered. A ray of light shot out of it, tearing apart the spiritual attack that had entered his mind sea. The divine gate star seemed to have been provoked and unleashed its own attack. This attack not only combined all of Long Chen's spiritual strength, but it possessed its own law. It shot out of Long Chen's head, transforming into a ray of light that pierced toward the phoenix. A light sword shot out of the phoenix, but it was blasted apart like rotting wood. The divine gate star's attack continued to strike the phoenix. The light entered through the phoenix's head and traversed through its body, tearing through it and causing it to explode. The light then continued and struck Feng Fei. Feng Fei tottered and retreated a few steps, turning pale. A trace of blood flowed out of her mouth and dripped onto the ground. Senior Feng Fei is injured. Feng Fei's attendants hastily charged forward. They supported her, shocked to find that her aura had plummeted. As for Long Chen, he was also ashen, the light in his eyes having grown dim. Just now, the attack of the divine gate star had not just taken all his spiritual strength, but it had also taken the energy of the Feng Fu, Alioth, Life Star, and Enlightenment Palace stars. Only the Nethergate star had remained silent. The energy of the 5 stars had been sucked away. Long Chen also didn't know what that energy was precisely. In any case, he felt a wave of weakness wash over him. Bastard, Senior Feng Fei showed mercy on you, and you took advantage to launch such an insidious attack. I'll slaughter you. One of Feng Fei's bodyguards roared. Seeing Long Chen's aura was much weaker, he charged over. The other bodyguards followed. Idiot, do you think that I can't handle you just because I'm injured? Long Chen snorted, killing intent blazing in his eyes. He took out the door knocker he had taken from the gates of hell. He held it behind his back. Stop! Just at this moment, Feng Fei's voice rang out. It was clearly weak, so her injuries must be severe. Those bodyguards instantly stopped. Although they knew that this was their best chance to kill Long Chen, since Feng Fei had given them an order, they couldn't disobey. They didn't realize that Feng Fei's single word had pulled them back from the gates of hell. Once those people retreated, Long Chen put away the door knocker. No one saw his movements. He indifferently looked at Feng Fei. Feng Fei was also looking at him. She coldly said, "I underestimated you. This time, it can count as a draw. Next time, you won't be so lucky." Just now, the attack had come with no warning, not giving her a chance to prepare. But Feng Fei had her own pride, and she didn't want to keep going. She had also seen that Long Chen's injuries should be worse than hers. "I hope that there won't be a next time. If you do attack me next time, I might kill you," said Long Chen coldly. This foolish woman wanted his life because of her own foolishness. Even if their enmity was just a result of her stupidity, Long Chen viewed her the same as his mortal enemies. He could not be soft toward his enemies. Even if she was a peerless beauty, he would still kill her. "Long Chen, you've been rude to Senior Feng Fei multiple times now. I'll teach you a lesson today." At this moment, Di Feng suddenly stood up, pointing at Long Chen with condemnation. "Haha." Long Chen laughed. "People all say that a weakened tiger can die to a dog, but a dog is still a dog. Understand this. No matter how weak the tiger grows, it can still kill you with a single slap. Even if your aura is different, even if you've obtained more from the Blood Emperor, if you dare to attack, I will still turn you into a dead dog." "You?" Di Feng's heart shook. It seemed that Long Chen had seen through some of his secrets. It felt like he was being seen through, making him feel uneasy. Long Chen had beaten him several times now. Every time he saw Long Chen, he had heart palpitations. Long Chen could already be considered his heart devil. "Don't worry, I won't take your dog life today. That's because your life isn't mine. In the future, someone else will properly settle debts with your D family," said Long Chen. "What shameless boasting. Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of Senior Feng Fei." Despite lacking some confidence, he saw how badly injured Long Chen was. This was an incredibly rare chance. As long as he could kill Long Chen, he could wipe away all his humiliation. Furthermore, he even had a good excuse so people wouldn't be able to laugh at him over taking advantage of Long Chen's condition. Adding on that this could curry favor with Feng Fei and test some of Long Chen's trump cards, he stepped forward. Just as Di Feng was about to attack, Feng Fei snorted, "No one is permitted to make things hard on Long Chen today. I will personally defeat him next time." "But Senior Feng Fei..." Di Feng grew alarmed. Feng Fei didn't even look at him. She was looking at Long Chen. "Although you're arrogant, you are qualified to be that way. You can go. Next time, I will make sure you are thoroughly convinced of your defeat." "Since Senior Feng Fei has already spoken, shouldn't you hurry and scram?" shouted Di Feng enraged. Long Chen indifferently smiled. He also ignored Di Feng, saying to Feng Fei, "I've already said what I had to say. The choice is up to you." Long Chen took out a flying boat and left just like that. Watching him leave, Feng Fei snorted and turned back. "We're going back to the divine families." Those attendants hastily took out her carriage. She quickly got on and sped off, vanishing. "Di Feng, if you go find Long Chen after I'm gone, I will kill you." Even though the chariot had vanished, Feng Fei's icy voice rang out. "That woman!" Di Feng clenched his teeth and punched the void. He had been planning on immediately chasing Long Chen, but she had noticed. "Feng, endure it. Who cares about Long Chen? Compared to the big plan, he's nothing. Furthermore, Feng Fei is a heavenly genius. You have to maintain the appropriate mannerism around her. Perhaps one day he indicated Di Long her." Di Feng was startled but then shook his head. He was well aware that Feng Fei was too arrogant. She didn't care about any man. He could also be considered an expert in this regard. Unless he could suppress her with absolute power, she would not be tamed to him. What now? We're going to leave things just like this? We're going to waste such a heaven-sent opportunity? Di Feng was unwilling. Di Long shook his head. "Don't do foolish things that aren't worth it. We just have to clean up." Di Long led everyone back into the headquarters of the Ancient Family Alliance. "Big Brother Long Chen, I'm curious, why didn't you tell Feng Fei what happened? Just falling into someone else's scheme is quite irritating," said Ling. Long Chen shook his head. A scheme requires idiots to cooperate. My explanation would be useless. Di Long arranged this long in advance, and they wouldn't give me any chance. I don't understand, said Ling. It's simple. Even if I explained everything that happened clearly, Di Long would immediately apologize and then go investigate. This investigation might take 10 days, a month, or longer. Do you think that I'd wait? They know my temper, and who knows how many backups they had to create a conflict between me and Feng Fei. Even if they couldn't get her to kill me, they would make us mortal enemies. I immediately explained their plan to Feng Fei, but that idiot woman still went with it. There's nothing else to do, sighed Long Chen. What about that old fellow? Are we going to let him escape so easily? Demanded Linga, still not willing to let things go. She felt very bad about letting the elder get away in his flying boat. Why bother with someone who's definitely dead? Long Chen shook his head. Someone about to die? Big brother Long Chen, did you give him medicine? Exclaimed Linga. Long Chen almost coughed up a mouthful of blood. Between laughter and tears, he said, Linga, after living for so many years, can you be more accurate with your words? Are you asking if I poisoned him? Yes, that's right, said Linger. Big brother Long Chen, I've lived for countless years, but my soul has always been independent. I have never merged with those people's souls, because if I did, I would no longer be myself. I only went through their spiritual memories when I needed to in order to search for something, or sometimes I used their souls to adjust my voice and intonation. Long Chen nodded. This was why Linger's voice had sounded like that of an ancient existence when she had first spoken to him. The way she spoke was also a bit strange. As Long Chen sped off in the flying boat, he didn't sense any danger. Most likely he had no pursuers. At this moment, Linger materialized into a cute young lady sitting beside him. She looked at him in anticipation for an explanation. Long Chen rubbed her head. You were correct not to merge with those souls. You would have been lost within them and unable to find yourself. People will do anything in pursuit of their ultimate goals, but once they achieve them, they will naturally clean up any vestiges that look unfavorable to them. That old man was used by Di Long and will definitely be eliminated now that I'm gone. Why? Linger cocked her head. Because once he's dead, the proof will be gone. They can find any random excuse to cover it up. For example, perhaps that person hated the Mo family, and the attack was entirely due to his personal enmity. Thus, it has nothing to do with the Ancient Family Alliance. The Ancient Family Alliance will naturally execute him upon finding that out in order to maintain their own dignity. They will explain this all very clearly to Feng Fei. The truth is covered up just like that. So, do you think there's any chance he's going to survive? Long Chen smiled. Big brother Long Chen, you saw through all this, so why did you jump into the trap anyway? With how smart you are, I'm sure you could have thought of a way to expose their plan without harming your relationship with Feng Fei, right? Asked Linga. That's a good question. Long Chen bitterly smiled. Why does your smile look so odd? Long Chen sighed. I can see through others but not myself. Or, rather, even if I can see through myself, sometimes I can't control myself. What was the point of just understanding? It was all too possible for him to secretly send a message to Feng Fei. He might even be able to show her a recording of the sneak attack. However, with Feng Fei's icy and arrogant manner, Long Chen had instantly lost interest in explaining. Perhaps if everyone was amicable, explaining would have been an option. But when trying to explain himself to someone looking down on him, it felt too much like begging. Long Chen was unable to do it. Sometimes Long Chen also felt very conflicted. There were many times where his intelligence was useless. Instead, his temper controlled everything. Big brother Long Chen, your face is pale. I can fly for you while you rest, said Linger worriedly. It's fine. We're almost there. Long Chen shook his head. He knew his current state was bad. He had not only exhausted his spiritual strength. His 5 stars were also out of energy. The most difficult thing was that he didn't know how his 5 stars were injured, so he didn't know how he could help them heal. He could only hope for them to recover on their own. He wasn't too worried about it though. The 5 stars had always managed to operate on their own. They should be able to fully recover in no time. Although his battle with Feng Fei had ended in a draw this time, Long Chen knew that he was the loser. He had been hoping to use his powerful spiritual strength to exhaust Feng Fei, focusing only on defense and making her run out of spiritual strength. However, in reality, Feng Fei was much more frightening than he had anticipated. Her spiritual strength was only the slightest bit weaker than his, but her control over spiritual attacks was many times greater. Regretfully, the pill's sovereign memories were limited to alchemy techniques when it came to controlling spiritual strength. This resulted in him having powerful spiritual strength but not being able to use it in battle. It was a pain. He wished he could have Meng Qi teach him some soul arts, but he didn't have the time to train in them. It was a distraction. Let alone training in soul arts, he didn't even have time to refine pills to increase his cultivation base or satisfy the Nethergate star. He didn't have time. Long Chen, you were injured? When Long Chen returned, Moe was shocked upon seeing his current state. Just who had managed to harm Long Chen. It's fine. Just a little surprise. I'm going to check on Mo Nian. Long Chen brushed it off and returned to see Mo Nian. Mo Nian was starting to thrum with vitality once more. Most likely his astral space was fine, and his soul was starting to return. His soul had been separated from his body for so long that he needed a bit more time. But he wasn't in any danger. It seems he'll wake up within a day. If you wish, you can stay here. I can help you heal. As I see it, your core has been damaged. My samsara power should be able to help, said the Mo family's head. As a 4th step nether passage expert, his samsara power could heal most injuries. In truth, doing so came at a price to himself as well. Based on Long Chen's heavy injury, it would harm his own core. But any price was alright considering Long Chen had risked his life by entering the Netherworld to save Mo Nian. Long Chen shook his head. There was no way the 5 stars would be able to recover from him. Thank you, but I can handle my injury myself. There are still 3 days until the Star Field Divine World opens. Mo Nian should be able to reach his peak state during that time. We can reconvene there, said Long Chen. Despite the family heads urging him to stay, Long Chen entered the Mo family's transportation formation. After 2 transports, he arrived at the headquarters of the Martial Heaven Alliance. Little fellow, where did you run off to? Who injured you? Upon seeing Long Chen, the old man almost blew up. Long Chen's face was still pale. It looked like he was close to death. Chu Jianying and the others also jumped. Long Chen's aura was incredibly weak, and his eyes had lost any luster. It's fine. I'm slowly recovering, said Long Chen. He really was feeling better. In just this short time, his 5 stars had started to recover and nourish his body. He estimated that the 5 stars would be fully recovered in just another day. Speak, which shameless old fellow actually dared to attack you? Demanded the old man. In his view, this was definitely done by a 4th step nether passage expert, and one who had reached the pinnacle of that realm at that. Long Chen bitterly smiled. Don't mention it again. I lost face this time. I was injured by someone of an equivalent cultivation base. Impossible. The old man and the others refused to believe it. Within the same realm, who could injure Long Chen? Was it Di Feng or Tian Xiezi? In their eyes, those were the only 2 possibilities. Last time, during Long Chen's tribulation, he had made them flee for their lives, and since then they hadn't dared to come out again. Had they run into some miracle that allowed their combat power to soar? It wasn't them. It was someone from the divine families. Her name is Feng Fei, said Long Chen. Feng Fei? You actually fought with her? You know of her? Asked Long Chen, surprised. Of course. 3 days ago, she came to the Martial Heaven Alliance and asked how many spots we wanted for the Star Field Divine World. Heavens, she is definitely the one closest to becoming a sovereign right now. You actually fought with her? Chu Jianying and the others were shocked. Chu Jianying demanded, You fool, how did you end up fighting her? Are you happy now that you were defeated? What are you saying? Who cares about some Feng Fei? Why can't he fight her? The old man's expression immediately sank upon seeing Chu Jianying scold Long Chen. Long Chen naturally had to have no other choice but to fight her. Even if he lost, who beats a dispirited child like this? Chu Jianying's anger also surged, but the old man's last words made her feel like she had gone a bit too far. Long Chen naturally must be feeling bad and blaming himself already for losing. She was about to comfort him a bit when Long Chen said, "Actually, it wasn't a defeat. Her injuries are no lighter than mine. It can be considered a draw." What? Everyone's jaw dropped. Brat, are you bragging? Ha, no, you're definitely not, ha. The old man patted Long Chen's shoulder forcibly, laughing extremely proudly. Chu Jianying, Li Tianxian, and the others were also shocked and delighted. Although they had not witnessed Feng Fei fight, her aura had been enough to terrify them. These fellows that had lived for several centuries all had a sharp vision. They knew that Feng Fei was a terrifying existence, and also knew that the divine families had sent her to intimidate them and make them aware of the divine family's power. Feng Fei made all other heavenly geniuses lose their splendor. They were like fireflies trying to compare to the moon. When Feng Fei had arrived, all the disciples had come out to take a look. But Feng Fei had found them too unworthy for even a second glance. Only the Dragonblood Legion had made her eyes brighten for a moment. She had said that they were worthy of being the continent's #1 legion. After that, she received the numbers that Chu Jianying had supplied and then left. She had been there for no more than a few minutes but had still left behind an impression of an insurmountable mountain. Her power made others despair and give up hope of ever reaching the top. Adding in her peerless beauty which made others submit, they wondered if this was the model of a sovereign. Compared to Feng Fei, other heavenly geniuses like Di Feng and Tian Shizi were nothing. Hearing that Long Chen had actually eked out a draw with her was something difficult to believe, but they knew that he disdained lying. "Ha, Long Chen, you're back. We've already started climbing in the Nether Passage realm. Damn, what happened to you?" Just at this moment, the disciples of the Martial Heaven Alliance heard that Long Chen had returned and began congregating. Yi Lingshan, Bao Buping and Chang Hao came in. Bao Buping jumped in shock upon seeing Long Chen's current state. Seeing them, Long Chen also jumped. "Are my eyes more damaged than I thought? You've reached the 3rd step of Nether Passage? How did you do that?" It was Long Chen's turn to be filled with disbelief. They clearly possessed the death chi of a 3rd step Nether Passage expert. Not only that, but they were able to easily keep that aura inside, which meant that they had reached that realm a while ago. How did they advance so quickly? When he had left, they had clearly just started attempting to reach the 2nd step. Long Chen. At this moment, Meng Qi, Chu Yao, Tang Wana, Yu Zhiqiu, Dong Mingyu, Lu Ruyan, Cloud, and the rest of the Dragonblood Legion came over. Long Chen jumped once more. Every single one of them had reached the 3rd step. Even the lazy Guoran had done it. But his aura was still fluctuating, showing that he had just reached that realm and was still unable to fully control it. Upon hearing that Long Chen had fought to a draw with Feng Fei, the Dragonblood warriors cheered. Guoran even began to brag. "Do you see? My boss is unrivaled. If she dared to be arrogant, my boss would make her cough." Guoran had his mouth covered by Long Chen. This fellow was unable to control his own mouth once he opened it, and it would end up conning him instead. Meng Qi and the others involuntarily laughed. They knew Guoran's character and knew that he wasn't saying it out of malice. He just liked bragging. Feng Fei's arrival had given them immense pressure. Yu Zifeng had even said that she was stronger than Long Chen. Although it was a simple intimidation tactic, it was truly effective. Yu Zifeng had said that he didn't even have the courage to draw his sword against Feng Fei. When speaking about pure combat power, Yu Zifeng had always been the most terrifying one aside from Long Chen. Furthermore, he was a sword cultivator with his own undefeatable will. But he was unable to find any weakness within Feng Fei. Drawing his sword would be meaningless. Feng Fei was just that much stronger than he was. "Boss, what were you doing? Your cultivation base didn't increase at all." Gu Yang frowned upon sensing that Long Chen's cultivation base was still at the initial entry to Nether Passage. Don't even mention it. I've been so busy that I didn't have time to cultivate. But how did your cultivation bases grow so quickly? Asked Long Chen. Meng Qi explained, it's because we occupied the largest qi flow stream during the qi flow eruption. The heavenly Daos have started to change. We can clearly sense the heavenly Daos supporting us and helping us cultivate many times faster than before. Furthermore, the blessing of the heavenly Daos ensures that we won't have to deal with heart devils. We don't need to suppress our cultivation bases for fear of our foundations growing unstable. Long Chen suddenly understood. So the effect of the qi flow eruption was manifesting itself now. We've heard word from the other powers, and although they've also been blessed by the heavenly Daos, the effect is not as great as ours. Tang Wan'er giggled. Long Chen nodded and looked up at the dark sky. It looked like a curtain of darkness was about to descend. The aura of the heavenly Daos had changed. It seems that this phenomenon is closely linked to the Dark Era. The martial heaven continent wishes to protect itself, so it is blessing the heavenly geniuses in hopes of them growing stronger and driving off those enemies. This is not just a battle for the martial heaven continent's life forms, but a battle for the very survival of the martial heaven continent. Correct. The current state of the heavenly geniuses of the continent is incomparable to any other era. This dark era will definitely be on an unprecedented level. However, there is still no sign of a sovereign being born, said Chu Jianying. Feng Fei might possess the qualification to become a sovereign, but the heavenly Daos have not manifested the crown around her, so she has not received the continent's approval yet. With a sovereign still not being apparent, dark undercurrents are flowing. No one has confidence in being able to survive the upcoming battle. Only a sovereign who had received the approval of heaven and earth would be able to earn everyone's faith. It didn't matter what side they were on, they would follow a sovereign. A sovereign was the only one capable of uniting the various powers against the invaders. However, a sovereign had yet to appear. That worried people even more. Without a sovereign, the continent would not be united. How would they face their enemies? Guoran said, "What is there to fear? As long as my boss is present, there's no problem. Once my boss's realm reaches that level, Di Feng and Feng Fei will be nothing. Plus, the brothers of the Dragonblood Legion aren't just window dressing. No matter how strong Feng Fei is, if the entire Dragonblood Legion is present, we won't fear her." Guoran seemed to have even more confidence in Long Chen than Long Chen himself. He had absolute confidence in him, as well as in the Dragonblood Legion. They had also gone through a transformation during this time. Don't brag. Take advantage of this time to increase your realm as much as possible, said Long Chen. He then bade farewell to the old man and the others. After that, Meng Qi brought Long Chen to a secluded area. This was an isolated mountain that was the best place for entering seclusion within the Martial Heaven Alliance. The entire mountain was covered in spirit formations that linked together. Holding Meng Qi's hand and looking at her beautiful face, Long Chen suddenly felt full of confidence. He had to protect them. He couldn't let them worry. Perhaps this was his greatest motivation to continue forward. "Meng Qi, I brought you back some things. See if you can use them." Long Chen summoned a giant skeleton. Meng Qi exclaimed, "A Netherbeast? You recognize it?" asked Long Chen. "No, all I know is that the Netherworld has its own demonic beasts. The marks on the bones are specific to those beasts. I saw an introduction about them in a badly damaged bone shard, but it didn't explain the various types. Where did you get this?" As a beast tamer, Meng Qi was constantly looking for more information relating to her profession. With the Huayan sect's help, she had looked through many ancient tomes that others had never had a chance to peruse. That was what allowed her to recognize the origin of this skeleton. "Hee, this is something that Mo Nian and I dug out of a grave. Do you think it's useful? I remember you saying that there was a technique to control beast corpses," said Long Chen. "That technique is for the Martial Heaven continent's magical beasts. But it also requires the crystal core to be fully intact and still contain a trace of soul essence. These nether beasts, Meng Qi didn't feel much confidence in this. If she failed to control it, the crystal core would shatter. Such a priceless treasure would be gone in an instant. It's fine. It wasn't bought with money, so losing it wouldn't be painful, said Longchen. Seeing how nervous she was, he waved his hand, bringing out more skeletons. There's plenty even if it's a failure. Even if they all break, they can be used as food for wild. Longchen took out 36 skeletons at once to lighten the pressure on Meng Qi. After all, if crystal cores on this level were embedded into certain armor or weapons, it would bring them immense power. Meng Qi was shocked but also comforted. With so many of them, she wasn't too worried about losing one or two. She formed a hand seal, and a flower mark appeared on her forehead. As she reached out, a gentle light landed on one of the skulls. The beast's body shuddered, and following that, a berserk aura rose. Long Chen's expression changed, and he immediately appeared in front of Meng Qi. It's going to explode. This was a Netherbeast above the Nether Passage realm. Although its flesh had vanished, the detonation of its crystal core could blast this mountain to pieces. Suddenly, 9 lotuses bloomed above Meng Qi's head. Divine light flowed out, enveloping the crystal core and pacifying the berserk energy within. The 9 lotus soul condensing pill had come out at this critical moment, using some unknown method to suppress the explosive energy. I understand. Meng Qi suddenly laughed. Just now, the technique of the 9 lotus soul condensing pill had made her realize that her method was wrong. After all, she didn't have experience in this regard and was trying to control it like controlling demonic beasts. But that didn't work on this. Now, her spiritual strength once more gathered, and she used a different technique to enter the Netherbeast's crystal core. This time, there was no explosive reaction. After an incense stick's worth of time, the skeleton shuddered for an instant before becoming motionless once more. Was it a failure? Although he had expected this, Long Chen couldn't help being a bit disappointed. No, it was a success. Meng Qi wiped away a trace of sweat and smiled excitedly. Then why? Long Chen pointed to the motionless corpse. I've managed to stimulate the energy within the crystal core. However, after so many years, there's less than 1/10 of the original energy within the core. In other words, once I activate it, it will only be able to keep fighting for at most 2 hours. After that, the core's energy will run out and it will no longer be usable. So summoning it now would be a waste, explained Meng Qi. Ah, I see. Then you're right, don't waste it, said Long Chen. Long Chen, I've also found a trace of these Netherbeasts' soul essence within their crystal cores. I'm going to extract it and condense a life soul beast. Your soul energy is also strong enough to condense one, said Meng Qi. Her eyes were shining brightly. The soul essence of these Netherbeasts was incredibly powerful and the perfect choice for condensing a soul beast. Long Chen shook his head. I don't walk the path of a soul cultivator. I don't have the energy to raise a soul beast. It's not worth the distraction. The soul beast didn't just require nourishment from the soul but also constant communication to erase its violent will. Long Chen didn't have that patience or time. Then I'll go ask Wan'er and Chu Yao, said Meng Qi. Long Chen once more shook his head. No. Chu Yao and Wan'er have powerful spiritual strength, but they have their own specialties. Unless they can find soul essence containing powerful wood essence or wind essence, there's no point in them raising such a soul beast. In fact, even if one of these beasts is of the right attribute, due to coming from the Netherworld, their core energy will definitely have some differences. Transforming that energy will take more time than it's worth. Meng Qi nodded. Maybe I'm just too excited. A soul beast was a powerful helper, capable of offense and defense. For herself, with her pure spiritual strength of no other attribute, she was a true beast tamer. Because she had no other attributes, she could control beasts of all attributes. A beast tamer with the flame attribute wouldn't be able to control water attribute magical beasts. That was not the same for other people. You can take them all. Pick out the strongest one to condense your life soul beast. You can turn the rest into ordinary soul beasts. Hee, I really look forward to seeing how strong you are. Big sister Meng Qi, you'll have to look after this little brother in the future. Long Chen smiled and wrapped his arms around her waist. Meng Qi kissed Long Chen lightly on the cheek. Alright, don't make a fuss. You should focus on healing and cultivating. You're the one with the lowest cultivation base now. I also have to go activate these skeletons one by one. Hee, don't worry, your big sister will definitely protect you. Meng Qi winked and left, taking the skeletons with her. Long Chen sorted out his feelings. Activating the formation, he isolated himself from the rest of the world. It was time to refine pills. Long Chen began taking out one medicinal ingredient after another. After counting them all, he nodded. He had all 317 ingredients that he needed. Hua Long is still in slumber. I don't know whether I'll affect it if I use its flames. Hua Long had gone into slumber after devouring the heavenly flame orb. Long Chen could clearly sense it undergoing some kind of transformation, but now he needed to refine pills. If he used Hua Long's energy, what if that affected it? Big brother Long Chen, I can help. I haven't fully recovered, so my core flame can't be used for battle, but it should be alright for this, said Ling. Won't using the core flame damage you? Asked Long Chen. If the core flame is constantly exhausted without being replenished, then there will definitely be damage. But just refining pills for a few days shouldn't have an effect. My core flame has recovered immensely from the trip to the Netherworld. If it's not an incredibly strong pill, and you support me with your spiritual strength, I don't foresee any issues, said Linger very confidently. Excellent. Ling, it's up to you. Originally, Long Chen had been planning on using the moon and star refining furnace because it had refined countless pills and had immense experience. However, it had yet to fully recover. He had no idea how many years it might take if he was constantly using its core energy. Since Linger could help, Long Chen didn't take the risk of using Hua Long's energy. Although refining pills with Linger required some breaking in due to her lack of experience, she was quite talented. Linger, I will refine the yin-yang merger Dao pill twice without your help. Watch closely, said Long Chen. Long Chen began to send medicinal ingredients into the demon moon furnace. A flame ignited within and enveloped those ingredients. Last time when they had refined pills, Long Chen had left his spiritual mark within the demon moon furnace. That was why he was able to communicate so easily with Ling. Linger's core flame was no longer the old color. Now it was a light green color. It was extremely pure and stable. Using this core flame, Long Chen formed 137 flame furnaces within the demon moon furnace to refine these ingredients. Big brother Long Chen, you're so amazing. Linga had never seen such powerful alchemy arts. This could no longer be considered to be on the same level as doing two things at once. Ling, do your best to learn this. The more demonic pills that you refine, the stronger you'll grow. Long Chen taught her with his full abilities. The more she learned, the happier he was. As Long Chen controlled the flame, he also explained things to Linga, things such as how to control the temperature, what to pay attention to while purifying the ingredients, what kind of color the ingredients should have, etc. As an item spirit, Linga memorized everything that he said. The runes inside her also memorized the way that Long Chen's flame changed. She truly learned quickly. Once the refinement of all the medicinal powders was complete, Long Chen sent them into Linger's storage space. That way, she could directly use them to refine pills on her own without asking him for more ingredients. Following that, Long Chen truly started the refinement of the yin-yang merger Dao pill. This was a pill used for those who had just entered the Nether Passage realm. It was used to balance the life and death energy within the body. Long Chen refined it twice, each time refining 9 high-grade pills. Because it was just a display, Long Chen didn't waste too much energy on them, resulting in them not being top grade. After finishing, he tossed them away. Ling, you try now. You can use your demonic runes. Linger assented. Her runes lit up as she worked together with Long Chen to refine the next furnace of pills. This time, Long Chen also sent in more spiritual strength. Linger's cooperation was excellent after the 2 refinements, and there were no big mistakes. In just a few minutes, the first furnace of pills was complete. The lid opened, revealing 9 black and white pills. They charged out of the furnace ferociously, going straight toward Long Chen. These were demonic pills that were naturally fierce. They were very difficult to subdue. Long Chen waved his hand, tossing them into the primal chaos space. There, Lei Long devoured them. They crazily bounced around within Lei Long's mouth, trying to escape. But their struggle was useless. Well done. However, there were 3 small flaws. Although they were top grade, quite a bit of their medicinal energy slipped away. Let's go again, said Long Chen. They refined 3 furnaces of pills in a row. Ling finally fully mastered the refinement of the yin-yang merger Dao pill. Long Chen praised Ling, delighting her. Refining demonic pills could be considered a form of cultivation for her, so she had gained quite a bit. Long Chen had Ling refine pills on her own, while a pill wrapped in lightning appeared in his hand. Time to test the effect. Long Chen tossed the yin-yang merger Dao pill into his mouth. It instantly exploded and sent a wave of berserk energy throughout his entire body. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.